Hello? Is we live? Okay. I think we are good. Hopefully things aren't... Hopefully weird things aren't happening with the screen. Hi. For some reason the streams tend to screen tear for a minute. Okay. Oh, I didn't even fucking... Here, as this is going, hold on. I'm going to share the stream.
Okay, rolling.
It's been
'Cause I
peaceful
forgot to
here
do
in the
that.
Five Worlds, or is it 6? For a dragon's age,
Alright, give me a
we
minute.
now have 12,000
Let's let this
treasure.
intro
Or
roll.
is it 14,000?
What about this Ganasty Ganok character? Now, I understand he's found a magic spell to turn gems
Up,
into
Trey.
warriors for his cause.
I'll take that question. Nasty Nork is a simple creature.
Simple?
He has been contained in a remote world and is no threat to the Dragon Kingdom.
No threat?
Besides, he is ugly.
Ugly? That does it!
Sorcery Reignited
Looks like I've got some things to do.
God, it sounds like you're hammering something. If you hear a noise later, Vic's gonna make a chocolate shake. Okay. Oh, I think we are good. Alright. This is kind of last minute, so I don't expect a whole lot of people in the stream. But y'all can watch this back as a video. So yeah, Reignited. Oh god, my head's getting cut off. Reignited is
Thank you for releasing me, Spyro.
soon to be 4 years old by the time it, it's released. But today it was announced 4 years ago.
You to the next world.
So I want
What
to
about
do.
Nasty Nork?
We're not just doing Spyro one day. We're gonna do a little bit of each game.
Dragons first.
So I'll probably get to like the halfway mark. So I'll probably get to like Beastmakers here. I'll get to just about the end of Autumn Plains in Spyro 2, and then I'll get up to about Evening Lake or so in Spyro 3. And I think that's what we'll do. So hopefully this sounds good too, actually. Let me go ahead and listen to that. Okay. Sounds pretty good. What I'm actually going to do is go boop, 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 boop. Okay. I don't want it to sound too loud, but I don't want to sound too quiet. I don't want to sound louder than the game, but I want the game to sound louder than me. It's always hard trying to balance these things. Everyone died. Hey, Frederick and Raven. Like I said, this was very last minute, and it's a Tuesday, so I don't expect a lot of people to be here. Hey, Bizarre's here. What's up? And Minecart. Blue. Yes, today is the 4-year anniversary of when Spyro was first. God, that entire thing, man. Oh, that worked out. That entire... That was pretty epic. That was a pretty epic reveal. In the sense that there was a lot of build-up to it. Oh, dude, penguins!
Where's Nasty
He's gonna say the
Nork?
thing, hold on.
I'll torch him.
Keep your horns on, Spyro. You have much to learn first.
No new Spyro game
You
since
know what the
right now. I
Dragon
know.
Fly following you is doing?
Hopefully we can will it into existence at some point this year, even if it's not released this year, which it probably won't be.
Keep an
But
eye on him and see
hopefully
what
at
I
least an
mean.
announcement. I would like that. Oh god. Wait, who else is here? Sorry, Ray. Speaking of, since I just read your thing. Yeah, Falcon and Bob, dude, yeah. So Falcon and Bob, which on the surface sounded kind of odd, but then we saw that it had an official, at Spyro the Dragon, and you couldn't really change your ads at that point. I don't remember. Can you actually change your ads now? Your ad name? I don't remember. I don't know if you can do that now. I think you can, but at the time you appoint, if I remember right. So they just kind of took over some Twitter, or they made a Twitter that had that, and we were like, okay. And then everything just happened in rapid succession. Like, I'm still really curious to see how. I'm curious to see, or to learn, what went down with that one Activision live stream. Because they were going to play... If I had to take a wild guess, they did do an Insane Trilogy stream. But I think in that stream what they wanted to do was... Because they were like, oh, we were going to tease a little announcement for you guys in this Crash stream. And it's like, well, it's probably not Crash related, but... What up, Sky and Dragon? It's probably not Crash related, but what if it was Spyro related? Because not a whole lot was really happening. There were some things that we were like speculating on, but nothing. The Falcon and Bob stuff and all that didn't really happen yet. Or I think the Falcon and Bob thing was there, but I can't remember if anything was really going down with it just yet. So they do their announcement, or rather, they do the stream, and then their announcement was that they didn't have an announcement. Now, the reason why that happened, I want to say, maybe they were trying to program in the Spyro trailer as the cheat code. The way they actually did later, they did it to where if you... I mean, that was one of the first teaser videos that used the Crash suit, where the guy in the suit did the code. Because it was the Spyro demo in the original Crash 3, but when you hover over Crash 3 and Insane, you do the code, it plays the trailer for Reignited. So I think maybe they were having issues programming that into the game, and they probably couldn't do it in time for when they scheduled the live stream, so they were like, oh shit, I guess we'll have to delay that announcement. And so they went ahead with the stream, but they had to try to find a way to like cover their tracks. And then later they found out how to get it going and all that. What's up? Yeah, so like I said, Vic's going to do his chocolate shakes. You're going to hear a bunch of... because he's going to start the blender right now. But that's what I think happened. Hey, Cloud, hello. That is what I think happened. That is what I think happened. Whether or not that's what actually happened, I don't know. But what's up, Jordan? Hey, Jordan! Yeah, again, that's the blender. Yeah, because right after that, oh yeah, so we were all, everyone was pissed at Activision and at the dudes who were holding the stream, because they were like, oh, Xavier, hello. You got a new account, I see.
Spyro. His color indicates his power.
Yay, 4 years ago Reignited was announced, and one day later I changed my channel for the better. And then you became super well known, and everyone loves you, and it's awesome. Yeah, no, we're playing Spyro today specifically because today, 4 years ago today is when they announced this, and we had no idea what was going on with Spyro because before this it was Skylanders, and I was just hoping Spyro wasn't trapped in Skylanders hell forever. Thankfully, no. Everybody clapped. It's just for those of you who don't know who Javier is, if anyone happens to know Painbusters 316, that was my old channel from fucking like a long ass time ago. It's been about what, 11, 12 years ago now at this point. He's my friend from here in the hood, the neighborhood. Yeah, Painbusters Javier's here. Spyro.
How about a hint on gliding?
You bet.
You were? Before Michael moved, because, yeah, a little update on Michael, he ended up moving from the neighborhood, but, last time I saw him about a month or so, not even a month, about 3 or so weeks ago, probably. Almost a month. Actually, no, it's been longer. It's probably been about a month or so. Or 2, probably at this point. Yeah, we were chatting, and he's still been watching some of our videos that we made. Yeah, Painbusters. We were trying to do like a type of Jackass sort of thing, but the stunts weren't as extreme. They were just really dumb. We were all like 12, 13, 14. And yeah, we had a lot of fun doing those videos. I mean, if we didn't do Painbusters, I wouldn't be here doing this right now. He was on Destiny. He's been playing a bunch of stuff lately. I think he has Final Fantasy, what was it, like 15 or something? I see him online every so often. Yeah, you should probably give me your PlayStation name at some point too. I can add you. No, but the way everything happened in rapid succession, after people got pissed at the guys who were hosting that Activision stream, play World of Warcraft, nice. Ever since then, it was like literally a week later, because I made a video being like, I referenced that, oh, you're on Xbox. Well, I have an Xbox as well. If you're on Xbox One, still. No, we could probably still play some stuff. If we find some good stuff that I can play along with you, like online or whatever, I could still join you. If it's Xbox, well, if it's Xbox One or do you have a Series X? I mean, I'm sure they're backwards compatible, but yeah, no, I ended up getting an Xbox. Yeah, Michael, Javier, and all of them know me for not really having Xbox consoles in the house, but I have all 3 of them actually, not the Series X. But I ended up eventually getting an original because my friend got it for me as a joke gift, but I was like, well, the joke's on you because there were actually a couple old games on the Xbox original that I did want to play that I now have access to because he bought it for me, the console anyway. And then I bought my other friend's 360 off him. Yeah, we were PlayStation kids. We definitely were. We played Rayman Arena. We played Crash Team Racing. Played, I don't know, did we play Tekken together? I can't remember if we did. Probably a little bit. But, Rayman Arena, Smash Brothers. Yeah, the Wii. Definitely. Smash Brothers, Mario Kart. Those are some of the big ones. Brawl was the biggest one. We were fucking playing Brawl non-stop. Yeah, exactly. I remember that Dix was all I could think about at work. Yeah, I was just... it was because... Yeah, so what happened... Yeah, just to recap everybody, just because I want to go back to those memories. So, a week or so later, after the whole stream thing happened and people were pissed, then Falcon and Bob started a tweet and all that. I mean, it might not be the exact order, but there was the egg. There was one egg at first, and there were a bunch of other eggs that got sent out to a bunch of different people. Then there was the... It said Falcon and Bob, and at that point, I don't think Falcon and Bob had really tweeted anything yet, if I remember right. But that confirmed it was a Spyro thing, that it was actually real. Then there was, yeah, so it was the eggs. Then Spyro, the account started tweeting, I think. And then right after, or right before that, oh, you got Revolution? Sweet. Yeah, go at your own pace, go play on your own time. Definitely just get the feel of it. Take it like really, really slow. Don't feel like, you know, since people won't be watching you this time around, don't feel you have to be really good at it first try, or else people are going to be like, oh, I thought, you know, this is my favorite game, how come you're bad at it? Like, if people think that, they're idiots. I never thought that, of course. So take your time with Rayman, with this one anyway, and I think hopefully you'll be able to appreciate it a little bit more if you just play it on your own time. The new Pokemon, Legends Arceus, no, but I do have Sword, of Sword and Shield I've got Sword, but I haven't played it in a long time. I have to get back to it. I do want to get, I don't know which one yet. Was it Scarlet and Violet? I don't know which one I want to get yet. But,
Big enemies like this Nork with the...
I do want to get the new one. One of the new ones at the very least. At least one of them. Yeah, so it was the eggs, it was fucking everything. The demo. Oh my god, I keep getting distracted. The demo disc. You're hooked on it. The demo discs. I have a bunch of them, dude. I love the PS Underground demo discs so much. A few of them that I have still work. They're really scratched to hell, but they'll blow my mind. I do want to play it eventually. Legends Arceus. I do want to play it eventually, but with all the other games I'm playing and streaming right now, and the fact that I've got to get my computer fixed, I've got a bunch of stuff I'm doing. Like, I don't have the time to get into like another open world game like that at the moment. That's what we're talking about, Legends. I do want to get it, just not right now because I still need to get some other games, and fucking Mario Strikers is coming out in June, so I have to gear up for that. And the best part about getting the new setup for my PC is that we're going to be able to go ham on all kinds of games for streams. It won't be limited to PS4 and 5 anymore. I am more than excited for that. There are so many good games I want to share with you guys. Either stuff that y'all already know, or stuff you've never really seen before. Like, I want to stream my Ninja. I started doing that years ago when I first started live streaming, but when Elgato started acting up on me in terms of streams, I had to can like all of those streams I was doing. That's when I went exclusively PS4 and 5. I was playing like Ruby Grim Eclipse, Parappa the Rapper, and stuff like that. Because Parappa's on PS4. No, we'll be able to play so much more now, and I am so excited. Any Crash game, any Spyro game. And I do mean any, because, except for the DS stuff, I don't have a DS capture card, but I do have a Game Boy player, so we could play the Game Boy games. I would love to play, like, Huge Adventure, Entranced. I've never played Spyro Season of Ice, or Flame, or Attack of the Rhinox, but the only GBA Spyro game outside of Spyro Orange that I own is Season of Ice. But hey, child, no one's gonna see you. You gonna enjoy your shake? Are you gonna come over here after you're done with the shake? Okay. There's gonna be a lot for streams, and actually, real quick too, let me update you guys on the PC real quick. We're gonna be getting it way sooner than later. I'm not gonna divulge into too much. It involves tax stuff. That's all I'm gonna say. I will be able to have the money to get the PC set up real soon. Unfortunately, the two models I mentioned in my update video, the two models that we were looking at that Chase showed me, are currently right now out of stock. Hopefully they go back in stock by the time I actually have the cash on me in full. Or if not, we'll find another setup that's like still within that $1,200 range. But yay! It's been a while since the PS5 chat's broken. Yes, after Erin gets her new laptop, she'll be able to stream games off her PC. Any type of bigger 3D game. So that's going to be really interesting and exciting. Finish my Spyro thought real quick. I do love how everything happened in rapid succession. From the eggs to Falcon Midbob unlocking and tweeting. It followed the Crash Twitter, and the Crash Twitter followed it back, so that was immediate confirmation that it was, And plus, even without that confirmation, there was the whole IGN thing where they shared their egg, and they showed off. Well, they didn't show it off, but you could see it, that the address on the package, somebody managed to look and see what that address was, and they just threw it right into Google Maps or whatever, and it was Activision's address, so it was legit. And then there was so that was, because it was April, so that was the 1 year that April Fool's Day and Easter were on the same day. So the PlayStation France Twitter tweeted out about Spyro, and they had like a little GIF of Spyro receiving an egg in Magic Crafters, and then like literally that, just a few days later, we got more people were getting more eggs, and then on the third, or it was the fourth, the screenshots leaked really late at night. They happened really late at night, and I didn't see them until I woke up to get ready for work, and I did a Periscope stream that morning. I had already gotten ready. I like washed up and everything, and I was starting to get dressed. I literally just put my pants on, and they weren't even zipped up yet. And I decided to check Twitter just super briefly before getting ready to go to work. And I saw the screenshot leaks, and everyone was blowing up about it. I'm like, what the fuck? I looked at them real closely, and I'm like, let me just see if they and someone's not just screwing with us. Because again, ever since RT Omni did, he's not RT Omni anymore, but ever since Omni did the Rayman leak, I was like, people are getting really good at doing fake leaks, and I need to make sure that this actually looks legitimate. But something about looking at them, I was like, this is too much effort. Like, this look for Spyro looks a little bit newer, you know, it's modern. I had seen a bunch of different fan stuff, like awesome HD fan renders of a remastered Spyro, and this didn't look like them, but it still looked, it looked just, no offense, it looked official enough, and I was like, okay, and I'm looking at the backgrounds, and I was like, there's artisans, there's treetops, I'm like, this looks way too clean to be fan done, this has to be official, and I'm like, shit, and that's when someone was like, bam, we found the title of the game, it's going to be Reignited Trilogy, and I'm like, I think this is real. And then sure enough, I get home, and it's right, this is the 5th, I get home from work after looking at those screenshots while getting ready for work, and the trailer dropped, and I was like, fuck! I'm like, oh my god, I got so fucking excited. Oh, Lord. God, dog, stop. Yeah, it was insane. I think that if a new game comes out, or gets announced, I think my enthusiasm is going to be more so on par with Crash 4. Because with Crash 4, we didn't really know what to expect from it, we just knew it was happening. And I'm still gonna go ahead and surmise that Bunox, they are working on something that is not Call of Duty. I'm going to die. I better not die on Toasty. That's gonna be really bad and sad. I think they are working on something that is not Call of Duty. Because to this day, they're still doing some Call of Duty stuff. Whatever they're working on that's COD right now, Bunox is a part of it. But they're working on something. What's up, Kiwi? And oh, I think that if it'll be even better if they don't do the typical teases, because at this point, with everything that's happening and with everything we've had to wait for and all the shit that they have to get under control before they continue with Crash and Spyro stuff. I mean, that is exactly what just kind of, you know, I don't think the ABK stuff and the Kotick stuff, I don't think any of that killed Wumpa League. I think it's on the back burner. Because you could tell that, like, there wasn't really anything there for a while, and then the teases started to happen again, and they were very blatant teases, and then the pinata happened. So, like, when those things happened, you could tell Toys for Bob and Activision were probably super duper gearing up. I am sure that September 9th was going to be where they were going to show it off and reveal it. It's Crash's 25th anniversary. It's, you know, it's a PlayStation thing. I'm sure the acquisition didn't happen, or it was probably in talks, but it wasn't happening just yet. or maybe that is probably why, even as well. I think everything just hit them all at once, and they were probably in talks with Microsoft, and something or other probably just stopped it from happening. Stopped it from happening then, like right then and there. I still think because there's just too much they've probably already worked on for Wumpa League that they still have with them, to just can the entire thing. I think they're waiting for a better time to have it, to announce it and to show it off. But I think it was wise for them to, like, I mean, from a business standpoint as well, because all this shit was going on within them internally, to still be like, I mean, Call of Duty is going to sell no matter what. It's, other people can fucking push Call of Duty, but for Crash, that's usually either a Toys for Bob or an Activision thing, or a whoever's developing it thing, to be like, hey, we're working on a new Crash, or a new Spyro, like, here's what we're doing. Here are the teases, here are the silly little, you know, things we're sending out to people to gain the hype. Now, if they did that, and all this stuff's going through, it's not going to really do good for sales. Or for, you know, the reception. It's like, oh, yeah, they're working on the... let's just ignore what their harassment claims. Because, hey, guys, new Crash is out. Like, that's, I think, the direction it would have... A lot of people would have just been like, oh, so you're just going to keep just showing off your games and not, you know, addressing these allegations or whatever. I think that's... It just wasn't going to look good if they just didn't, you know... And to have such a kid-friendly brand, you know, Crash and Spyro being kid-friendly brands, amidst this very, you know, serious stuff that's happening, it just probably wasn't a good look. So they didn't want Crash and Spyro at that point to be associated with, oh hey, yeah, this came out at the time that these sexual harassment allegations were coming out. So, you know, they don't want to soil, you know, anything regarding the brands or whatever. John! What up? So I do get it. It's not like I'm, you know, pissed that Wumpa League's just kind of in limbo again. See you, Sky Dragon. Thanks for joining in. But, I mean, Spyro didn't even get, you know... which I think is a good thing, in a sense, that Spyro didn't even get to be... If a Spyro is happening, a new game, it didn't even get to be teased or, you know, leaked. So, we still don't know if anything's happening. But I've said that many a time. I've always been like, yeah, we don't know if a Crash thing is in development, or if a revival is imminent, just because there are these teases. And while I was saying that in like late 2016, or rather, sorry, like early to mid-ish, before E3 2016. And lo and behold, E3 2016, we got our revival for Crash. So it was already actively in production, and we had no clue. But I was like, hey guys, don't say it's not happening, but don't act so sure that it's for sure happening and trying to tell people off about it. We don't know. Same thing is going on right now for Wumpa League and for Spyro. Like, if a new Spyro game is actively in development, then cool. We don't know because they're not gonna fucking say anything about it right now. Wumpa League is dead. Yeah, I don't. It's always been, and it always will be that sense of just wait and let's see what it pans out, because you gotta think they've been on top of everything for all these years now up until 2021, and that's been our one thing where nothing happened for Crash and Spyro. I think maybe Crash of the Run got a few updates in early 2021, but apart from that, there was nothing. That was the first year where there was nothing. But it makes sense because these serious things were happening in the background, so they have to take care of this shit. So I'm willing to wait. But yeah, I mean, everyone else, we are more than due for something new for Spyro. I am so ready. Like I said, with Crash 4, knowing that Crash 4 was happening, because of the teases and trying to piece everything together, but not knowing what it was going to be. Because already having the announcement of Insane at E3, they said we're gonna, Sean Layden said we're doing Crash 1, 2, and 3 up from the ground up for PS4. So we already knew, okay, it's a Crash remaster, but we don't know what it's gonna look like or be like. So there's where the hype comes in. So when Insane was shown off at PSX, I was like, fuck! Especially because that was the first game I ever played, so I've got a gigantic attachment to it, to Crash 1 specifically as well. Like, I was pretty much close to tears. I was like, this is my fucking childhood, and kids today get to play it in like a new way. So that's fucking awesome. And Spyro, again, knowing that there were these teases and these, this and that for it, then all the stuff happened like I was just saying, with the eggs and all that, and then Falcon and Bob, and then the screenshot leaks all led up to the trailer. So already kind of having a sort of idea of what the game was going to look like through those screenshots, but then seeing it in action, I was like, fuck, like I'm ready for it. So that's where that hype came from. But if a Spyro game came out right now, or like next year or whatever, and they kind of, subvert the whole thing, their usual pattern of teasing or something leaking, and not like it's necessarily a shadow drop, but like maybe at the very, very like last minute, if they're getting ready for like whatever, like some sort of like an E3, or not an E3, but some type of something to show off Spyro at. Well, because you gotta think too that Reunited wasn't even at a convention. It was on April 5th, which was a random day. So like, I don't know if they just not shadow drop it and not give us any teases or hints, but like maybe say, maybe the Spyro Twitter will be like something's coming or whatever, or if they like find a way to hide the date of the announcement, but don't give necessarily anything else prior to that, and don't give us hints about the theme of like what the game is going to be about or whatever. Because like with Crash 4, they were always being like, it was the puzzle and the message said something to help you pass the time, and time was in all caps. So it was a time, traveling type of, dimension hopping. That was the theme, and we pretty much got that. Plus people were saying, insiders were saying when Crash on the Run came out that was the first dimensional hopping game that we got for Crash. That was on that kind of scale, and insiders were saying that On the Run pretty much lifted its theme from Crash 4, dimension hopping and whatnot. So, yes, I also want to buy those Crash 4 figures, and I want the Coco cable guy controller holder little figure because it looks awesome. But yeah, those figures that came out recently, I want some too. I haven't tracked them down yet. I haven't really bothered. But I will soon. Or hey, Aaron, birthday present. Anyway. I still want the Spyro NECA figure. I have the NECA Crash, but I don't have the NECA Spyro. And then I have to switch the feed over because I don't know how you fuck that up. But they did. Yeah, if a Spyro game was teased very vaguely, and we didn't know what it was going to be about, and then a trailer just dropped, like they tease when the trailer's going to drop, and then it does, and then we see what it's going to be, and what the characters are going to look like, and what the gameplay is going to be about, like that shit's going to be on a whole other level, because we won't know, and we don't know what to expect. With Crash 4, we already knew what the theme was. We were getting some hints about new characters like Kapunawa and all that. We saw a couple new designs, Aitana and Dingodile, and Crash and Coco, so we kind of already knew what they were going to look like. There were blurry images, sure, but for people trying to enhance those images and whatnot, we were getting an idea of what we were going to see for the most part. So when the trailer dropped, even though it still was dropped dead gorgeous, we were like, because we saw some leaks of like, oh hey, here's Crash in a weird suit, here's Crash on the jet ski. So if you watch that Crash 4 trailer back, I don't elaborate on it, but when he jumps on the jet ski, or the jet board, sorry, when he jumps on the jet board in the trailer, you hear me go, oh, there it is, because I saw like a day before or right before, Summer Game Fest, I saw those leaked images Vic and I both looked at him, so I was like, oh, there's the jet board. Confirmed. But if Spyro got, like, very little... I mean, some teases and hype in the sense of something is coming, but not these blatant, like, what's it gonna be? And then we see what it's gonna be in, you know, this, like, really surprise, awesome teaser trailer. I think it'll be that much more special. So it'll be like, fucking finally, a new Spyro game. A brand new Spyro game. That's just me. Let me go through some comments real quick. There's a lot. Sorry. Let's see. Oh yeah, there was a Toys for Bob. Oh yeah, no, that's right. There was this Toys for Bob, like, oh my god. Nobody saw it because we didn't know that Toys for Bob was even gonna be the ones to do Reignited. There was this Toys for Bob video that happened, like, what was it, like 3 or 4 fucking days before? It was like late March, early April, like right before the trailer dropped. And they come out with this fucking, like, company, like, this is what it's like to work at Toys for Bob video on their, like, website. It was on their website. I don't think it was, if it was on their Twitter, they would have outed themselves right then and there, and we would have known. But it was on their website, I think, if I remember right, and it shows them working on stuff, and they had to blur a lot of stuff out, of course, but there were some bits that they forgot to blur out, so you get to see an untextured model of one of the Elder Dragons, and you get to see, like, the thief and then some concept art on a board in the background. You have to look at it real close to see it, but, like, oh my god, I remember that. Everyone was pissed. Like, how did no one find this? That was pretty funny. Oh yeah, when everyone was getting upset about the dragons wearing clothes, I didn't mind. If you watch back my reaction video to the trailer, I was like, oh hey, they're being individualized. You know, that was my first thought. I was like, that makes sense. That's cool. That was something we didn't expect. We didn't know how the dragons were going to be treated. I wouldn't have necessarily minded, I don't think, if they were the same models but different colors and different voices. With some personality tweaks, of course. But keeping them very similar to the originals. But no, not a single dragon looks the exact same for the most part. I'm sure, like, maybe some of them look a little similar, maybe body structure-wise, probably, but every single dragon is different, is unique. Which I was not really expecting. And then everyone said, what did they do to Nestor? And then it wasn't Nestor, because at Comic-Con, they showed off what Nestor was going to look like. And I was like, that looks like Nestor. And they reused the old Nestor for Oswin. The Amazon Mexico leak.
What's on the other side of that river?
Why
Oh
don't
yeah,
you
Colin,
go out
hello.
there and find out?
Yeah, it's like, because Toys for Bob helped a little bit with Insane. They were like the consultant, or not the consultant, but they were like the support team on Insane. Everyone has supported one another, and I think that's so cool. It's like some weird Toy Story shit, and that sounds random, but hear me out. I always said it was so interesting, and I wonder if it was Pixar's plan all along for the original 3 movies, because we had no idea that they were going to even do a 4th. But for the first 3 films, Toy Story 1 is its own contained story, of course, but there is a little hint of Al's Toy Barn in there. Al is like the quote-unquote kind of villainous, kind of villain, but he kicks off everything, and Al's Toy Barn has a huge part of Toy Story 2. And then in Toy Story 2, they talk about what's going to happen. Like, the prospector's trying to, you know, Stinky Pete, whatever, I forgot his name for a minute there, is trying to tell Woody, like, hey, what are you going to do when Andy grows up, you know? And in the 3rd movie, Andy grows up. So, like, I don't know if that was their plan all along, but to kind of subtly foreshadow what the majority of, you know, Are you okay there, bro? There you go. The trigger, I didn't activate it. That little subtle foreshadowing. I'm assuming it's foreshadowing, but that was interesting. Likewise, we had Vicarious Visions do Insane, and Toys for Bob were the ones that were the support team. Toys for Bob takes over the full project of Reignited, but with the help of Sanzaru and Beanox, they were support teams that did stuff on this game. Beanox later goes ahead and does CTR Nitro Field, and I forget, I think it's, I don't know if Vivi did support work. Someone, I don't know if it was Toys for Bob, or one of them, I think, also went back and helped Beanox and were did support work on Nitro Field as well, if I remember right. But I think that's really funny. It's like one of the other, because you just think, oh, it's Insane by Vicarious Visions, and mainly it is, but what people often forget is that there were support dev teams that helped with assets and helped with animations and with characters. Those support teams just happened to be people that would end up working on the next thing. That was really cool. I don't know if that was always their plan, Activision's plan or whatever, but how they kind of filed them in, like, here's Vivi, here's Toys for Bob. Toys for Bob's gonna do Reignited. Here's Beanox. Vivi's gonna work on Tony Hawk after that, and then Beanox is gonna do CTR Nitro Field. Beanox will also help with a little bit of Spyro. They're gonna help with Crash 4. Toys for Bob will come back right after Reignited and do Crash 4. So that was interesting. And Toys for Bob were most likely gonna, were the ones that were gonna do Wumpa League. So I wonder if Beanox were gonna help them on that. But Beanox, I feel, are the ones, because they didn't have really much to do outside of Call of Duty after their game being Nitro Field. So because there were no Spyro things, I think what the original plan was for Spyro to stay afloat with the cameos and all the different Crash games until the new game came out. And I think the new game was supposed to be done by Beanox. So I think that was the whole plan. And that could still be what ends up happening. I kind of hope that's what happens. But we don't know. So that's just my little theory. How far was it at that point? Yeah. Enough to be able to be actively teased, because you got to think, when those big teases, the biggest teases being the things that were sent to people. Once those, look at it. Eggs were sent, like, not even 2 or so days later, Spyro was shown off. The puzzle pieces were shown off, or no, the dice were given to people, and like a day, it says, see you at the Game Awards. A day or so later, the Game Awards, CTR. The puzzle pieces, the puzzles were given out to people, and what? Not even not even like a week later, we get the Crash 4 trailer. So it's, once stuff gets sent to people, like, they're ready. They're ready to start, prepping the merchandise, prepping the advertisements, how they're gonna, do stuff, prepping the promo art and the promo work and all that, and they're gonna show it off. So with the fact that we got the piñata, that's how far we got into Wumpa League, was the piñatas. I don't think, because when that happened, like I said, the message, there was a bigger message, I think, with those piñatas, and I forgot, but it mentioned shit like League. Crash is gonna, join some friends that are just up his league or out of his league or whatever, and so it's Wumpa League. Like, it couldn't be any more obvious or clear. And a few days after they started doing piñata stuff, it was gonna be the State of Play or the PlayStation event or whatever, and it happened on September 9th, Crash's 25th anniversary, and in that GDC talk, Paul Yan said, there were going to be ways fans could celebrate Crash's 25th, you know, playing Wumpa League. So I feel they were like so close and so ready, but that is literally also when all the shit started happening, so they had to pull the plug real fast. I'm pretty sure they were like super ready to show it off. They probably had a trailer in hand. Oh my god, you asshole. So I don't think they're canceling anything. I think they're just waiting to have all this stuff get settled, get taken care of, for them to be in a better place to where we can start actively seeing, hey, they're getting their shit together, Microsoft's helping them get their shit together, and from there, the reputation can kind of come back a little bit, new management hopefully. Maybe we'll have to wait until next year, because June 2023 is when the acquisition actually happens, so that's also supposedly when Kotick's supposed to be, you know, kicked the fuck out, so who knows who's going to take over after that, but hopefully it's someone who's better, morally, and who will actually, you know, be more lenient and help make the space a better place to actually work in. So that way, we can see more stuff thrive for Crash and Spyro. So I think we just have to wait until they're in a better spot. Who knows? That's not gonna take. That's not gonna be. You know. It's gonna take a while. So that's kind of where my headspace is at right now. But right now I've got a bunch of other. You know, I'm trying to get back into playing Switch stuff. We've been playing. We just bought Kirby and the Forgotten Land, so we're getting pretty far into it already. And I'm trying to play, you know, Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury. And I'm trying to, again, like I said, we're prepping for Battle League. I am so fucking hyped for that. So I've got stuff to mold me over until we get some more Crash and Spyro news. And when we get news, if it's after April or May, I'll have my new PC set up by then, and then I can go back to making news videos, discussion videos, hype videos. Just bring the hype back. With the pattern we've been having of every year, it's been something for Crash, something for Spyro. I mean, a little hiatus was also kind of, I guess, warranted. In the sense of, I am missing a lot of shit because I didn't go up here yet. In the sense of just trying to, you know, again, let Activision kind of do its thing. Hopefully it just gets better. Kill this guy, I'm gonna kill this guy, and I'm gonna go over some comments, because there's a lot behind this. Let's see. No, that's what I'm saying, Trey. No, you can't think about it that way. You can't think, okay, stop teasing us, just reveal it. Dude, they're not in a position to do anything right now. They have to work out all this internal stuff. It will not be a good look on the brands of Crash and Spyro, these kid-friendly brands, knowing that the company publishing those brands, those games, under that brand, happen to just be filled right now with all kinds of sexual harassment, claims, or whatever the word was I just used. I'm tired. Accusations and stuff. Like, they have to clear that stuff first. And with this acquisition, like, they're under a lot of shit right now. They can't just, you know, the reason why the teases happened for Wumpa League was because they were getting ready. They thought they were ready. They were gearing up. It's the same pattern as, like I just said, with the eggs, the dice, and the puzzles. Like, they were ready for it. But then everything started happening, so they had to put it on pause. Let's see, where am I going? Let's go to Night Flight. Let's go to the night, to the flight. I mean, yeah, no, the major teases. The littler teases are the really funny ones because they'll come from like PlayStation, like they'll come from weird PlayStation divisions. They'll come from like, there was a Saudi Arabian, I think, or something, division of fucking PlayStation that teased Crash before Insane and the Skylanders Imaginators thing. So I want to say it was Saudi Arabia or some otherly division of PlayStation that did that wanted poster using the Mind of a Mutant render. Like, they come from such weird places. PS France is the one that teased Spyro right up until it was April 1st. April 1st / Easter. They fell on the same day. So it was cheeky to do it on April 1st, but to do the Easter part of it by showing Spyro getting an egg, like, it all just coincided with the whole purple egg thing people were getting sent. So it's all just really funny to me. Hey Abdul, haven't seen you in a long time. What up, man? I'm trying to go through all the comments I've been missing. So let me see. Been trying, wanted to get the NECA Crash figure. No, the Crash 4 figures are up. Might just get those ones. I mean, I do like the NECA figure for Crash for how detailed it is. But because of the simplistic look of the Crash 4 characters, and designs rather, I want those ones as well. Don't care Wumpa, want Dragon. But like I said, Aaron, it'll be a huger surprise and a way more wholesome reveal if they don't tease us. So, as much anyway, with anything super heavy, if they kind of subverted that just once. Because they know, they're aware that we are like, hey, what's going on with Spyro? He's only had one remastered project. Crash has had 2 remasters and 2 new games. So, like, going in with that knowledge, it'll be so much more special, I feel, and a lot more of a surprise if the teases for outright confirming that it's happening were to come kind of small, and then instead of being sent shit, they just drop the trailer. They teased the date for the trailer, and then they just dropped it. That'd be fucking amazing. But knowing them, they'll probably send something that's themed after what the game's about. What that would be, I don't know. I couldn't even begin to speculate on what the plot of a new Spyro or the theme of a new Spyro would even be. I hope it's something really awesome and something a little along the lines of, you know, something we haven't seen before. It is me, Spyro Waku Waku. I am wearing the mask. Wait. And happy birthday. Thanks. No. The Middle Eastern account, yeah. That shit was so funny. Oh yeah, I saw your thing, Zark. I didn't get to it. My bad. I'm trying to catch up on comments. I'm really sorry. No, exactly. I personally want Spyro next. When say Wumpa League doesn't intrigue me, I just want to see more of the purple boy. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Also, Frederick. I only hope the Microsoft acquisition means Activision Blizzard leads to a better work culture. Yeah, exactly. Having Cozy Cow is the first step. The Spyro Spotify stuff. So that's interesting. I think it's interesting that Stuart Copeland is kind of making it to be a sort of bigger deal than how Josh Mansell. Oh, there are dust clouds and stuff too. Or is that just? Oh, that's just the general desert, right? I don't see other dust clouds here. Oh, besides the one that was just near me. Never mind. Yeah, this part's just glitched. Anyway, it's interesting because Josh Mansell posting the high quality stuff for Crash was one thing. So I'm wondering why Stuart wants to. Where are you going, dude? Why he wants to. I mean, I hope that they're like high quality rips, or not even rips, but high quality, like the original tracks that he did. Because that's what it was for Josh. For Josh Mansell, he if you listen to those pre-console high-quality versions, which were the originals that Josh Mansell made for those games, he had some also for the first Jak and Daxter. I think he had some for Jet 2. Don't know if he had any for 3. Because I don't even know if he stuck with the entire Jak series as composer. But in terms of Jak 1 and a little bit of Jak 2, I think he has some pre-console versions of those as well. But for Crash, you can hear the difference really, really clear because certain really quiet sounding tracks, like in Crash 1 specifically, like Generator Room or something like that, you can hear the percussion. There's percussion in those tracks. You can't hear it as well in the tracks, the versions you can find like on YouTube, or if you listen to the music in the game, because it's so muffled and compressed. More so compressed than muffled, but if you listen to the high quality versions, you hear bits and things in both ears that you just can't hear in any other version, because that's the way they were originally intended. That's ideally how they wanted the music to sound in game, but because of the way the limitations at the time and all that, with the PS1, the quality of the PS1 just kind of brought the quality down a little bit. So there were things from the final versions that you hear in-game that he had to kind of omit, like certain percussion, certain little bits that you just probably couldn't hear with the downgrade in the quality, with the compression. There are certain bits that you can only hear in the high-quality versions. So I wonder if Spyro's got the same thing, if it's a pre-console mix that's, the highest of quality because it's the original version that Stuart Copeland did on his program or whatever. So that's going to be interesting. Why he's making I'm not saying he's making a big deal, but he's going out of his way to be like, hey guys, making a video, being like, hey, I'm sorry that, we were supposed to do it on April 1st. It was not a joke, but we're having problems. And addressing that, first off, to let everyone know it's not a joke is one thing, and that's awesome. Because Josh didn't go to, hey, I'm putting them on my Spotify or on my whatever. He just kind of did it. Not saying it's a tease for anything. I don't think Stuart Copeland putting the Spyro soundtracks on there is necessarily a tease. I was gonna say, if Stuart Copeland has more of a helping hand in a new Spyro game soundtrack, that'd be fucking dope. Because the only thing he did for Reignited was the menu theme. But if he actually helped compose, because if it's gonna be Beanox, then I think I found out for a fact, because I was looking at some LinkedIn stuff a long time ago, that Nick Tremblay is going to be the composer of a new Spyro game, if it's Beanox. So Nick Tremblay, if you don't know, is the composer for Nitro Field, and he did the DLC tracks, which means yes, he was the one who composed Spyro Circuit. And Spyro Circuit, it is godly. It is everything I wish the remastered, reignited tracks in these games sounded like. Steven Vankov tried. He just didn't hit it. I'm sorry to say, he just didn't hit it. I think the reignited tracks are vastly inferior to the original. That's why every time now that I play Reignited, I think when I first streamed Reignited, I think I had the music on because I wanted to hear it. I wanted to hear it to see if it lived up to what I was. That sounds kind of weird. Lived up to my expectations. But as a fan, to be like, I wonder how close it sounds to the original music. And for me, I feel Steven Vankov's tracks just didn't really live up. And hearing Stuart Copeland do the theme of Reignited, you can hear it's Stuart Copeland's sound. You can hear it. So my whole thing was, well, why didn't they just have Stuart Copeland do the music over? Because it's going to have a more crisp sound, a newer sound. He didn't have to make it sound exactly the same. He could, you know, do it up a bit nicer. But with that power he gave these tracks, you know, that is why I, now and always, when I play this, I have classic music on. Because you just can't beat the originals. And they didn't even really get close, in my opinion. But Nit Tremblay managed to, he has this power behind his sound, and for the purposes of Nitro Field, it matched pretty close for all tracks, for all Team Racing and Nitro Kart tracks. To me, like, he just did a fucking awesome job. And because it was Josh Mansell who did CTR, and it was what's his name? Ashif Hakik, I think, if I remember it right. And one other guy, I think, who did Nitro Kart's music. So they had different sounds, but they, who did Nitro Kart, tried to base Nitro Kart's music off of CTR's. So they do still sound similar in that sense. So when doing up all those tracks for Nitro Field, Nit Tremblay hit both sounds very well. Matt, Jesus Christ. I tried to say their names in a video years ago I did on camera. And I fucking, I can't say their names. Ashif Hakik and Todd Maston? Is it Maston or is it Maston? I don't know how to pronounce his name, I'm sorry. But yeah, the two of them were the ones who did Nitro Kart. But, you know, Nit Tremblay came in and did both, just nailed both those sounds. And then kind of more so unifying it with whatever he was using to compose. Unifying it to feel like, you know, this is the Nitro Field sound. It blends together very well. And doing Spyro's music and doing the remix of Mushroom Speedway, like, it's awesome. I remember at one point I listened to the original Mushroom Speedway by Stuart Copeland. I listened to Stephen Vainkov's version here, and then I listened to the remix in Nitro Field. And I'm just listening to them. I'm not a musician, but I'm just, you know, I'm trying to listen to them, and I'm like, they all sound really good. And I mean, Stephen Vainkov's does sound okay. You know, it's not still as like strong as Stuart Copeland's, but the sound, it's one of those tracks. There are some tracks, I'm obviously not gonna lie about it, where the sound is there. Like, even I still prefer the the original Hurricos, but Miharu loves Reignited Hurricos more. And it does sound similar in certain aspects. You can tell, I'm gonna die. You can hear it, especially because that was a really good track for them to when they made that announcement, because it was an announcement that Reignited was going to have the option to switch between the new music and the old music. I am bad at this. I am so sorry. I hate timing this fucking prick. My bad. That's why I can't. I'm slowly. I'm realizing this about myself, that I'm slowly losing the ability to speak. To talk and play at the same time. That's why I keep pausing while I talk. Or else I'll fuck up. But, there's a power to it, kind of. No, oh, sorry, no. That's why, Hurricos was used. I think that's why they chose Hurricos to... Okay, Jesus Christ, I'm gonna stop. I'm just gonna stop and I'm gonna talk because I can't. Oh my god, I'm so tired. Oh, okay, I need to not play while I talk because it's distracting me. Okay. Hi everyone. I'm gonna pause this. See you, Frederick. Okay. So, I think that's why they chose Horikos, was because when they showed off, hey, look, you can flip between the original music and the old music. The new music and the original music. Fucking God. You could hear, like, okay, this one sounds like the original, but it's a little bit newer. It sounds a little more cleaner. It sounds very similar, sort of. But not every Steven Vankov track sounds like that. They sound too subdued. And the instruments aren't the same. I mean, the whole point of trying to capture the feel is to try and capture the same sound, because the sound is what gives you the feel. And Spyro has some very specific instruments, some very specific sounds, and not all the time did I think that translate across into Reignited. But in the remix, in that he, I think Nick Tremblay got it. So to see a whole Spyro game with his sound, that's going to be awesome, I feel. I think he'll be able to very closely... Because, I mean, let's look at Walter Mayer. Walter Mayer was the composer for Crash 4, and he did his own thing for the most part. You can hear a lot of really nice themes and sounds in Crash 4 soundtrack that make it Crash 4 soundtrack. Like, for example, also, to put in perspective, you can tell Wrath of Cortex's music because it has a very techno sound to it. That's what those composers decided to do for that game. They did remix a few. They remixed the Crash theme, the Crash 3 theme, and all that stuff. So you get those familiar kind of, tracks, and the sound is its own thing or whatever. Say what you will about that the game soundtrack, but I for one do like it. It still to me feels like it's a different Crash. It's whatever. But it's a lot more techno sounding. But that makes it that game soundtrack. You can't mistake it for anything else. Twinsanity goes without saying. It's acapella, it's Spyro Mouth. You know it. That makes it that game soundtrack. For Crash 4, it's the blending of Walter Mayer's freedom of giving this Crash soundtrack, these awesome epic songs or tracks like Entropy's theme or whatever. The more kind of nice sounding themes, a little more subdued, like a little more calm ambient sort of, like Run a Bayou. But then you have all those like marimbas and all the cascading notes, like it's all a callback to every opening of Crash 1, 2, and 3. The like that scale, they ran with that hard in Crash 4's music. But keeping the xylophones, the marimbas, whatever that, keeping those instruments and doing those scales, getting away with trying to do the scale whenever he felt he could get away with it. That's what makes it that game's soundtrack. You can't mistake Crash 4 soundtrack for anything else. Despite the samples and the different themes, you can hear a little bit of the Crash 3 theme. The main theme that they tend to take is Crash 1's. You hear Cortex's theme, you hear a bunch of other stuff. So, like, that's awesome. For a new Spyro game, I think Nick Tremblay can hopefully capture Stuart Copeland's feel, because, again, he did it very well in Nitro Field. But then make that soundtrack its own and his own, so you can not mistake it for any other Spyro soundtrack. It's first and foremost this new game soundtrack is basically what I want to get across. I think that would be really cool. Because he understands the feel. He understands Stuart Copeland's sound. I think better than Steven Vankov did, despite Vankov being taught by Stuart Copeland himself. How to like kind of, recreate certain things, or how to try to hit those feels, but I don't think he did. I don't think he did the best job at it. Sorry I had to pause for all that. Everyone left, probably. We're not done. I'm actually going to do this level here. We're already pretty much halfway through Spyro 1. And then I'll switch over to Spyro 2 in just a minute. Oh god. I'll probably go a little bit quicker. Right now I'm trying to get everything like I usually do, but I'm probably going to not do that in Spyro 2 and 3. I'm just going to blast through the levels. But yeah, that's my take on like the soundtrack. Oh god. Let me see, are there more comments? Cyber Fox, hello! A collaboration between Steven and... or, Copeland and Vankov. I mean, probably... I want to know, I really want to know where the thought process was when doing Reignited soundtrack. Because with Insane, the biggest issues with the soundtrack that I have really only kind of exist mainly in Crash 1. There were some tracks, I've said this before, I'll say it again. There are some tracks in that game I feel were either hammed up way too much and made too wacky and cartoony and bombastic and boisterous, like Hogwild. Hogwild could have been perfect if only two things. They didn't replace those guitar strums with cartoony sound effects, and if they kept that, the juice harp, the doing, 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 they didn't put that in the remastered version of the song. But if they did, again, those little bits, because, okay, here's another example from Insane, from Crash 1. Two examples, actually. The Great Gate / Native Fortress and the Lost City / Sunset Vista. Those two songs were neutered. I know that if you go back and listen to the originals of those two, they are simplistic. They're simplistic songs without a whole lot of instrumentation. But there are a bunch of side or background sounds like the didgeridoos or these other little musical cues or bits that Josh Mansell put in to make it feel... Or, third example, those two and the boulder levels in Crash 1. It's just percussion. That's almost exclusively what those songs kind of just came down to. The didgeridoo's not there. How do you get rid of the didgeridoo? Like, little bits like that. It just doesn't translate over very well with how they did it. Little bits like that. So either they were made way too... It was too extreme one way or another. There hardly in Crash 1 was ever a really good balance of, okay, it's new, it doesn't sound like the original, but it still kind of does sound like the original. No, you either went way too quiet and subdued without those iconic sounds or background elements, like in Great Gate or Sunset Vista or Boulders, or it went too loud and boisterous, like Hogwild. The Upstream and Up the Creek, that song, that track, it was very calming, very ambient, had a steady rhythm or tempo or whatever. It was put on a whole other time signature, and the percussion is loud in Insane. And even if you go back, if anyone watches Oni Plays, and you watch the Insane playthrough that they did, he's in one of those levels. I forget which one it is. It might be Up the Creek? I don't remember. It's in one of the two. He's in there, and they kind of stop talking about whatever they're talking about for a while there, and they're kind of just listening to the music, and you hear Chris go, how come it's all over the top?
Is it working,
And like it is. Sometimes the songs are just over the top. And it didn't have to be. Like, Crash is wacky, and the characters are what sell the wacky nature of the franchise. But you don't have to really over-accentuate the music to match that. Like, having those guitar strums in Hogwild sounded cool, and it was nice, and it was consistent. But then you replace those guitar strums with wacky, weird, cartoony kids' toy sound effects, like it's a kid pushing a button and hearing the duck quack or the or whatever. Like, why did you do that? Or the cuckoo sound effect. Like, why did they do that? That was not necessary. And it upset me a little bit. Well, it upset me in the sense of you didn't have to do that. Why did you do that? You know. But in Crash 2 and 3, Insane, the tracks got a lot better, and a lot of them do sound. Oh my god! I was hoping they wouldn't mess too hard or too much with the jetpack levels in Crash 2, and they didn't. That song sounds so good. It's just as good as the original. It sounds almost the exact same, for what it's worth. It's really, really good. So things like that. Also, Toad Village in Crash 3, they didn't mess with that. It sounds really strong, really good, still has that medieval theme about it. It's perfect, and it works, and it sounds not too far from the original, but it sounds just new and clean enough to further not be distinguished, or to not be too similar to the original. It does sound a lot better and a lot cleaner. So, my point being is that Insane got better with the soundtrack over the course of the game. Reignited consistently sounds way too... Like, I get it was probably done because they wanted to do the dynamic thing, where if you leave Spyro alone, it just goes all ambient and whatever. But that's an effect placed on the music. The music itself didn't have to match that almost lullaby-esque ambient feel. These songs, listen to this. Listen. Fucking... Listen to this. I can do this right now. Listen. It's missing that. It's missing that. Fucking look. It's quiet now, but then like the beat kicks in, but like the sound isn't there. That strength is not there. Like, that is my problem with it. It's not there. But I think Nick Tremblay could do it. I think he's more than capable, because it was just one song. It was just one song from Spyro 3. And it sounded like it could be almost fucking what's the word I'm looking for? Not confused for, but it could be you would think it could come from an actual Spyro game. It would have made you think that it was from a Spyro game, but it's a remix in a Crash level. So Bubbles making weird noises. He's asleep. He's snoring. I mean, maybe I should. I don't think I've done a video yet on Spyro's music or Crash's music. So I think when I come back, once I get my new PC set up and I can do videos again, I think I'll do a video on, not from a musician standpoint, just from a listener and a fan standpoint. I am not a musician. I've only ever played tuba in 6th grade and 7th. So, what do I know? Music-wise. But as a listener, someone who loves to listen to music, I just have an ear for music themes, more so sound-wise than professionally, you know. Also, an ear for what was already established versus how they changed it. That's also what I have an ear for. So I love to give my 2 thoughts on that in an actual video with a script. Right now, I'm rambling. I apologize, but that's just my take on it. Catch up on comments. Melancholy, hello. Yeah, thanks, Spyro Fox. No, yeah, the situation, I talked about it earlier, the situation with my PC is everything of mine is backed up. If you go on the channel right now, you'll see I made an update video on my phone. I can't access my computer at the moment, but I have everything backed up, and I am actively looking at different PC models that that my friend's helping me with. He's helping me find models that I could look at to buy. I'm saving up the money for it. I'm about to have it actually pretty dang soon, which is very, very good. And then it's just a matter of setting up the computer from the ground up, injecting all my stuff back into it, prioritizing my stuff a little bit better so I'm not too cluttered with assets and thumbnail assets, PNG things for edits that I do in my gameplay videos and stuff for Vid Games FTW. When I'm making silly funny joke edits and I have to put like a picture or something or a character in, a lot of those assets and PNG just images I still have on my computer, or at this point on my hard drive. That's not good because I have years worth just kind of saved in case I ever needed them again or whatever. So at this point I have to learn just keep the essentials. Everything else, just cycle it out. If I have to grab a PNG from Google Images, do it, use it. Video comes out, delete those assets. Just get rid of them because I'm not going to need them again. And then from there, get my programs back, all that stuff, and then, yeah, I'll be back making videos soon. Oh, you fucking, God damn it, get him. Oh my god, what am I do not have trouble with this, normally. I am very sorry. This is a shit show. ICP Reignited made me a tad disappointed for my favorite tracks. That's what I'm saying, a lot of them sound... Okay, I don't think I said that. Whereas it got better for Insane, Crash 1 soundtrack for Insane's, some tracks are good, others are just no. But then 2 and 3 got better, so over the course of the trilogy, when you play it, the remastered music gets better in terms of being truthful to the original songs and soundtrack. Reignited just consistently across all 3 games has that same very subdued kind of sounding sound to it, to all of it. Okay, damn it. So yeah, a lot of my favorite tracks just didn't sound too good either. Oh no, yeah, Kiwi. No, Miharu agrees too. Actually, she prefers Insane Brio's theme over the original. I prefer the original because it just sounds more sinister to me. Because Crash 1, that is a whole other topic. Oh, Crash. The original trilogy has a very specific, in fact, most of the Crash series, up until Twinsanity, have a very specific feel. They are comedic. They're not made to be funny. Twinsanity comes out, and they even call it the first Crash comedy game. It is meant, for all intents and purposes, to be a funny game. So it's wacky and it's silly, but it does it in a different way than the series had been doing it up to that point. If you look at the little subtle and funny and wholesome jokes they would do in C and K, Interactive Cortex, or at least they attempted, and the original trilogy, or CTR, or Crash Bash, sort of. Even the Game Boy games. And the series wasn't always known for being that funny, especially in the dialogue department. You know, that was kind of the direction the series just took afterwards. After Twinsanity, was they felt it so funny, and Traveler's Tales Oxford were the ones that pretty much kickstarted that for the series from then onward, where Radical just fucking went all out on that. They super were like, okay, we're gonna make them do references, and we're gonna, pop culture references. It's gonna feel very Cartoon Network show-esque. So Tag Team Racing went hard on that, and it just kept going through Titans and Mind Over Mutant especially. And that became Crash's identity in terms of its humor. It became a comedy. It became a Saturday morning cartoon show. It was meant to slightly parody, more so it was inspired by Saturday morning cartoon shows, specifically Looney Tunes, when Naughty Dog were doing the original games. But they were never trying to be Looney Tunes, or be the Muppets with its humor, or whatever, or be a Cartoon Network show. That's what it turned into. So, when it came time to do the old games again, like I said, there are times where the humor and the music just kind of go a little too bombastic, because it's them trying to go back to the old tone, the original tone of the old games, but keep that more familiar, more modern comedic route in there. And they didn't need to do that, because the originals didn't have that. So, I mean, the better animation and the more detailed animation did make for some funnier moments in Insane, like instead of Crash just, walking through the door in the beginning of Warped, he runs right into the door, and it's a little slapstick moment, but it works, I suppose. I should not have gone through this first. Well, I'm not getting all the gems or orbs, so whatever. But Crash 1, the original Crash 1, again, I know it very well, it had that very kind of sci-fi Frankenstein-esque, Igor throw the switch type of feel to it. That was the feel they were going for. An evil scientist creates this mutant, but then instead of going a weird horror route or anything, as we know those stories to kind of go, they went the comedic route, and they went with... Oh, hell. If you read the Crash Bible, no, they were gonna go that direction, actually. Not the creepy route, but the Saturday morning cartoon route. They were gonna go the Gex route. I am fucking glad they didn't, because I feel if they did, Crash would have been one of those types of franchises, probably. Not to say that's what killed Gex's popularity, but Gex is a cult classic. It's not one of those absurdly it's not Crash or Spyro. It's not a popular... It was never a flagship. It wasn't a flagship. People know of Gex and Klonoa and Croc, but they're not staples. They're not flagships. And I feel its datedness does have a part in, and did have a part in, kind of throwing them off to the wayside. And games like Crash and Spyro felt a little more timeless. A little more, anyway. Because whether you're playing this or the original for Spyro, that fantasy feel, that, not diving into any kind of pop culture or anything, you could play the original Spyro in 1998, you can play it in 2004, you can play it in 2022, you can play it in 2078. It's gonna still feel like it did when it came out. And to an extent, Soul Reignited. But Gex makes dated references. It's almost like, that's why there are new versions every so often of You Don't Know Jack. Because You Don't Know Jack, if you look at the old ones, or the video game versions of Wheel of Fortune, or more so Jeopardy, those types of trivia shows, when trivia show video games, when they come out, depending on the year they came out, that's the trivia you're getting. You're getting stuff from that decade and maybe a decade or two before it. So if you play You Don't Know Jack, the originals on PS1, you're gonna get weird shit like stuff from the 90s and the 80s and maybe 70s. If you play You Don't Know Jack now, you're gonna get Twitter and Facebook references, and you're gonna get different weird stuff like that from now, from the 2010s and the 2000s and stuff. It's all about the decade they came out in. But each game, my point being, is dated. Gex dated itself by making those specific references. So did stuff like, even outside of games, like Animaniacs. Animaniacs dated themselves hardcore. Okay, I didn't get the skill point, but whatever. I didn't touch the trigger, I guess. The old show is dated in the jokes that they make, but so is the new one, because they do make a Trump joke, and they do stuff like that, because it's all about the timeliness of those references, and how topical they are at the time. So, that kind of stuff is dated. Not saying Gex can't come back, because he could.
Look at that.
If they're going to keep that style of humor, they're going to have to pull in Animaniacs, and whatever comes out for Gex in the 2020s is going to be dated for the 2020s. There's going to be no doubt that he'll make references to whatever that's topical, to Snapchat or TikTok or whatever. He's going to do it, you know? There's a great chance he'll do it if there's a new game in the next year or two. Like, that's just what it's going to be. Where this whole conversation started, I don't fucking... So, okay, no, sorry, yeah. Back to Crash, though. Crash did have this very specific feel. The first game had a very specific feel about it. And it wasn't always a funny feel. Sometimes it did feel a little foreboding. Look no further than levels such as Temple Ruins or the bigger offender, Generator Room. Those have creepy ambient feels to them. But here comes Insane, putting those backing tracks and trying to make it actively sound less intimidating because, you know, it's a different era, it's a different decade, a different generation of kids playing these games. Don't want to creep out the kids, but you creep me out, so thank you for that. I don't mind it, of course, but, you know. Point being, I do this a lot, I'm so sorry. I'm aware of it. Point being, I prefer Brio's original song over Insane because the original had that kind of creep factor to it. It made him feel like he wasn't just a henchman, he was also a threat in his own right. And with the instruments that Josh Mansell specifically used for his theme, you do hear them in you do hear those instruments and those sounds in other tracks throughout the game too, but to hear it in Brio's theme primarily, it was cool, and that made it his theme. So to replace some of those instruments and sound fonts and bits with other instruments, because that's what they had to do for Insane, it just doesn't sound the same to me. And the pacing is a little bit different too. They did change the way it was kind of structured, which is also bizarre. Animusic DVD has a piece called Pipe Dream, which has a crash feel to it. Oh, I gotta hear that. Was it done by Josh Mansell? What's Animusic? I don't know what that is. Yeah, there's always been humor, but yeah, I wasn't trying to beat you over the head with it, with the comedy until you laugh, like Twin Sanity. I mean, no, don't get me wrong. Twin Sanity is a jokes and some random bits and whatever from the Radical era game, and I don't mind it. But I think the biggest offender is Mind Over Mutant. And again, I've had conversations like this both on stream and off, on our own time with Miharu, because she loves the comedy in Mind Over Mutant, and that's fine. I mean, I do too, to an extent. I wouldn't say I love the humor in it, but I like it. But Mind Over Mutant's humor is also, like Gex or something, it's dated. Because what was popular at the time in 2008, the late 2000s, when that game was being made, the iPhone. The iPhone was relatively new. We had the iPod Touch. So, of course, putting stuff on your phone and having apps and doing all these things with it. What's the plot of Mind Over Mutant? They build this headset, and it still has Crash origins within it and a Crash theme to it. It's a mind control device, but you've got apps, you can text, you do whatever. Like, it's a parody of technology and how crazy people go over it, which is why Coco and Crunch, they're so infatuated with it, and then it controls them and you have to fight them as bosses. So while the idea of it's cool, it's dated. Along with the references, along with, memes. That was a huge, not the memes as we know it now, but Iken has Cortex references. Iken has cheeseburger. He says it. And he says that's a stupid meme anyway. So next time you, after this stream, maybe tab over or just go on the search bar and go Mind Over Mutant Cortex dialogue. And it's all the shit that he says when you're in the evil public school, because he's on the speakers, he's on the overhead. Listen to him. And that, I shit you not, that is one of the jokes. Attention students of evil public school. No, you can't has cheeseburger. That's a stupid meme anyway. And I'm like, did he really just say that? In a mainline canon Crash game, Cortex says the word meme. So, At the time, when I was a kid, I didn't mind it. I was in, 8th grade? 7th? No, 8th or 9th grade. No, yeah, 2008. I was I was starting to enter high school when that game came out. I was just about to enter high school. I was ending off my 7th grade year. My 8th grade year, going into freshman year, when that game came out. So I was following it extensively. I was pretty hyped for it. And Mind Over Mutant is not a bad game at all. I will still, to my core, to this day, I will defend Titans Mind Over Mutant as good Crash games. They are not bad. They are different, but how many other games have we had in other franchises that were different and they're not that bad? But it's all also perspective, and it's all opinion. It's like, if you think Legend is bad, then you think that the Legend of Spyro series is bad. I think it's pretty solid. Of course, the weakest game I would probably have to say for my experience right now would be Eternal Night, because yes, the enemies are very hard and very difficult to defeat. Enemies in general are hard to defeat. Because I think they got feedback that the game, I think Chrome got feedback that A New Beginning was probably too easy for people, and they thought the enemies, you just mindlessly destroy them and you go along your way, and the game was too repetitive. So they made it to where, okay, you're on a full-fledged adventure, but the enemies are going to be way harder to defeat this time. That's exactly what the game is. It's a full-fledged adventure. You're not just saving the dragon, coming back to the temple, learning how to use the elements, going back out, finding the next dragon. And hey, finding dragons, that's Spyro 1. Like, they still took inspiration from Spyro 1, and people don't acknowledge that enough, I don't think. But, Legend of Spyro, Eternal Night is the weird one. I do agree with that. I still had an okay time with it, up until, like, the end of the game, where it just gets fucking brutal. But, past that, or even before getting to those moments, it's an okay game. And Mind Over Mutant, all that to say though, that for Mind Over Mutant, when I was following it as a kid, and I was like actively like, oh, I'm so hyped for this game, and any bits of news that came out for it, I was there to not do anything for YouTube on, because I wasn't really on YouTube as much. I was still doing Painbusters and all that, but God, I fucking wish. I wish I had it within me, in my head, to make videos, because I never experimented with voiceover. The only voiceover thing I ever did was if I was holding the camera and talking to the camera about the stupid Painbuster stunts that Michael and Javier would do. But if I knew it to be able to do, like, voiceovers and be like, hey guys, I want to talk about the new game Crash Mind Over Mutant. Like, and I was fucking like 13 or something at that time, so I would have sounded very cringy. But I would have been one of the probably first YouTubers to do that. I think even before Jeremiah Isaiah, because Jerry started doing videos on Crash really extensively after Mind Over Mutant came out, and he was doing them more so to be like, hey, Crash might have a strong chance at being in PlayStation All-Stars. We haven't seen him for a few years. He's kind of on a hiatus. Will he come back in this form before getting another new game? That's how Jerry rose to popularity as a Crash YouTuber before he became a Bloody Roar YouTuber. But shit, if I was doing videos on Mind Over Mutant before the game came out, I think that would have effectively made me the first Crash YouTuber. And I never jumped on that train. I stuck to the news, and every time something new for Mind Over Mutant came out, I was there to see what was coming for the game. But despite me having a YouTube channel that did start, Painbusters did start to stray away from the stunts after we stopped doing them, and I was uploading my own shit to Painbusters before I just, stopped working on that channel altogether. If I had it within me to do Crash content, I could have... That could have been interesting. I wonder what would have happened. Maybe Destination Life would have had like 50,000 subscribers by now. I don't know. It's whatever. That's an interesting scenario though to think about. Yeah, no, call it. I remember when we talked about Crash movie. I know we should have done it, man. Phil on Gex says it's like the video game equivalent of Austin Powers, full of pop culture references that are increasingly out of date. If they try to revive it, I doubt it succeed. I mean, I hope if a Gex or Croc or anything type of revival like that, yeah, at least I'm on it now. I mean, yeah, that's true. I just feel like I started way too late. Because the people on the scene at the time, it wasn't CG or other people or Jordan Fringe. It was people like, it was Teal, and Teal Game Master. He still does stuff, of course. You'd bet your ass if Wumpa League or Spyro, whatever comes out, he's gonna cover shit on it to this day. It was Teal. It was Crystal Fissure. It was Josh Gaming. It was me. It was Jeremiah Isaiah. We were kind of the ones who were in the scene when Insane was around, but even before Insane, Jerry was one of the first ones to really, be someone who talked about the trademarks and the teases and stuff. That was him. And some of his friends, I think, too, but it was primarily him. Oh, and G-Man Rocks, too. G-Man Rocks, did some stuff for Insane. He did some stuff for Reignited. I don't think no, he didn't do anything for Nitro Field. I don't think, anyway. We played it with him. He went to E3, which I don't think... he told me he was... When I told him I was going to E3 2019, he said he was going. And when he was still actively working on YouTube stuff, he came over to my house. He came here, and we recorded a bunch of stuff together. We did some stuff for vid games. We recorded a skit for his channel, which was a parody of Sly Cooper. We did a Periscope stream together, and we played, I think, CTR or something like that. But that was 2017. So 2019, I hadn't seen him since, and then 2019 came around, and we hung out again, and then we played Nitro together. at E3. He was also on the Conquer scene when Project Spark stuff was happening. He was there for it. Yeah, he was pretty hyped for that stuff.
The next glides get... Remember...
Oh, but like I was saying about Gex, Gex could still do pretty good because there is that cult following that wants to see him come back. And because all these other platformer characters are coming back, like Klonoa and all that stuff, and again, even Bubsy came back for a little bit, I don't want Gex to go down the Bubsy route. I think that Accolade felt bringing back Bubsy and trying to make the games look more polished and play better would mean he can still be the wisecracking dumbass that he's always been, but maybe he'd work better for kids of today, you know? Because the games were just so bad back then that no one really cared for those games, and he just kind of died after a while. But when they made those two games, he just kind of slipped right back into obscurity. Because those games, I mean, yes, were still polished. They were very polished. The visuals were the best things about Woolly's Strike Back. I never played Paws on Fire, but Woolly's Strike Back visually was pretty cool in that sense. I was like, hey, a Bubsy game, that looks nice. Who'da thunk? Gameplay-wise, the way the game felt to play also was solid. But the way that the gameplay felt structurally was something like New Super Mario Brothers. Not bad, but very repetitive, kind of boring at some times. And that it didn't offer anything out of... It just felt like it was thrown together, but it looked really nice and it played really nice. And I think they just felt that doing that was gonna... And Bubsy being his usual Bubsy self was gonna make people kind of look back on him, massive air quotes here, fondly, and be like, you know what, maybe we can give this Bubsy game a chance. It looks better. He blipped in a... Did he just go... Did you see that? He fucking... Ooh, that was weird. That was weird. You scared me, sir. I think they banked on Bubsy being his usual Bubsy self and just having better graphics and better gameplay. We're gonna save the brand and save Bubsy as a series, as an IP, and it would lead to him, you know, actually coming back. But it didn't. Well, Paws on Fire was what, 3-4 years ago now? Not a peep since. So no complaints here. I'm not gonna lose any sleep over Bubsy not being successful. But I think Gex could still be okay enough in his own right as well. Because, yes, if you want to do the references and stuff, you're gonna have to make them modern and make them dated for nowadays, which means, yes, in another 20 years, you'd be like, wow, that's such 2020s humor. Late 2010s, early 2020s humor. But, if you make... Maybe if you wean off of that a little bit, and you make the level design and the characters feel more memorable, maybe Gex can have a bigger shot at surviving longer than a game or two, if anyone plans to revive him, you know. Same thing goes for KO actually, because KO's coming out soon. I really want to play KO because people have been actually saying really positive things about it from the demo. People are saying it feels like Crash. That's already a huge plus for me. I never got to play the demo, so I'm just going to pre-order or just buy the game day one when it comes out. I'm excited to play it. It looks nice. It has a very Toys for Bob-esque art style to it. The animations look really snappy and really cool, really nice, really good. I just hope that feels fluid. I've heard it feels fluid, but I want to feel it for myself as well. But the KO games, I don't really know much about them. I think KO just kind of did his own thing, I don't know. He's not on quite the same level of obscurity as Gex. He's more on the obscure level of Croc or Klonoa or something. They've got pretty big followings, and they had a big following for their time, but the games, there weren't too many games in those series, and there wasn't enough to, I guess, keep them memorable, so they kind of just died out after a while. Or even Parappa. Parappa is still technically considered a pretty big PlayStation mascot for the time. But besides that remaster of the first game for PS4, back in 2016 or so, and his inclusion in PS All-Stars, he hasn't really been seen much nowadays. Because it's going to be a way bigger deal automatically if, like, Sly does have a 5th game. Because Sly is a huge PlayStation staple. So if a new game comes out anytime soon, like, that's gonna fucking be the one that's gonna get people talking. But I hope that a new Gex game, if one is ever made or anything like that, I hope that it doesn't just quietly get released, kind of, you know, people have fun with it, and then back to the wind it goes, you know? Honestly, it made sense for something like Bubsy, because, again, Bubsy's just so fucking strangle him, as it already is. Then he comes out with some fresh tood and 2 new games, and it's like, okay. But it just didn't make that much of an impact, so it's like, who cares? Glover is getting remade or mastered, not from the ground up, but the graphics are being cleaned up. Oh, that's fucking weird. That is so weird to see. And I'm surprised that people... I am surprised that people find Glover enjoyable and interesting. I mean, the premise, or not the premise, the character design of Glover is, I get it. It's a 90s thing. It's a very, like, okay, this is a very 90s type of character to have. Because platformer characters nowadays, I mean, they're still anthropomorphic animals or whatever, or sometimes objects or items or something, like, you know, whatever. But you had a bunch of weird ones in the 90s, and Glover was one of those just fucking weird ones. But, I don't know. That game, to me, is just bad. That's a bad game to me. Yeah, see? Even Melancholy agrees. The controls for Glover on a ball were awful. The controls in general were awful. Because you had the option to, like, jump up on the ball and he would do this and, like, roll on it. But then you can also use him as a hand like this to push the ball. So you're technically controlling the ball and not Glover. But... so it's essentially a platformer where... it's as if they made Super Monkey Ball a 3D platformer. Not something you have to tilt to move. Like, no. Like a ball-ass, rolling-ass 3D platformer. Like, and it's on the N64. And the best version of it is the N64 version. Those are some huge red flags already. Unfortunately, the PlayStation version is the worst one to play of the two of them, or how many ever versions of Glover there are out there. But, no, even for the N64, the colors are too muddy and gross looking. The controls aren't very good. It is very easy to die. It's also one of those types of platformers. That's why I love Crash and Spyro, and that's why I feel they took off as well. They're set in believable worlds. Like, here we're in a factory, and it's an underwater place, and you go to ruins, you go to castles, you go to snow caverns. Very believable, nice, you know, regions of a believable world. Glover, there's just some, like, carnival place in the sky. There are these weird, just nonsensical platforms with very eyeball-hurting textures and patterns and swirly and checkerboard patterns on them. That's why I don't like Mario 64 too. That's one thing. I feel Mario 64 is insanely dated in its graphics because they do that sometimes. Some of the those bonus areas that, you know, Sunshine would have its bonus areas, Galaxy would have its bonus areas. I mean, hell, even Odyssey has its bonus areas. All to thank 64 for starting. But the way 64 did it, look at any of the Bowser's. There's no Bowser's Castle world. Every time you get to Bowser, it's just this weird fucking trippy void that you're platforming through, and it looks nonsensical. It looks dated. It doesn't look good anymore. It didn't even look good for its time, to be honest. Because comparing it to like Crash or Spyro or Gex or Croc, those worlds look better and they feel more believable. I think this is going to be controversial as fuck. I am sorry, but I personally feel that Mario 64's graphics and visually the way it looks is more on par with something like Bubsy or Glover. Bubsy 3D or Glover. I am sorry. I am so sorry. But that's what it looks like to me. I don't believe in a good chunk of those worlds. They don't look sensical to me. Some of them are okay. You know, Thump's Fortress, it's whatever. It's iconic, I guess. It's iconic enough to be recreated in Galaxy. But those Bowser areas, or what and some of the level design too is just bad. It's straight up bad. It's just straight up bad. Like that TikTok clock, whatever it's called. That shit's bad. I'm sorry. I don't like that level at all. I don't even think I got to play it myself. I don't think I even got that far. But seeing gameplay of it, oh fuck no. That's gonna get me frustrated right quick. I no. I don't want to play that level at all. I want to avoid that like the plague. Because people always say, oh, Crash 1 has such unfair platforming because you have to jutting out platforms and shit. And it's like, dude, that's just timing. And, I mean, so is the example I'm about to give from 64, but it's more unfair in the sense of it's still very unpredictable. Because there are... Okay. Let's take, for example, Sunset Vista and TikTok Clock. Sunset Vista, first off, is the second of the two ruins-themed levels. City-themed levels. So, all of the stuff you see, there's nothing new in that one, in Sunset Vista. All the stuff you see in Sunset Vista was already introduced to you in the Lost City. Everything in Sunset Vista was already introduced in Lost City. So, you're going into that level already knowing what to expect for the most part. You just don't know how long the level is, and it's one of the longest levels, if not, I think, the longest level in the game. Or how you're going to be able to navigate. But you know how to navigate the level already because you've already seen the pushy walls. You've seen the jutty out platforms. You've seen the burners, the torches. You've seen the leaping lizards. You've seen the platforms that go around like this. You've seen the ones that tilt when you step on the sides. Like, so you already know how to beat the level. It's just more of take your time, learn the patterns are new. Of course, that's how they make it harder for one. I think it's intuitive. Crash was very intuitive in how it introduced its difficulty. TikTok Clock just kind of gives you these block platforms that go vroom, 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 or they'll do like a vroom, vroom like that, and they'll do like two of them, and it's like some do it like this, and some just go boom, 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 boom. And you have no idea which ones are going to do that and at what time, and they look the same too. It's not like you can even say to yourself, okay, like they're color coded. If there's like this texture on the ones that do it one time and they're like yellow, okay, the yellow blocks do it once. the red ones, if they're, like, say the other ones that do them more are red, like color code them or so. I don't think they do that. If they do, I'll leave my words. That is perfectly fine. But from what I remember, off the top of my head, from memory, I think they all look the same. So you can't tell which ones are going to flip you like this, or which ones go flip, 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 flip. And I think the timings on them are different throughout the level, and it's just chaotic. And it's not intuitive, and it's unfair, because it's a vertical level, so, and it's way longer than something like, Sunset Vista, because Sunset Vista's vertical parts are just in segments. Tick-Tock Clock, the whole thing is a vertical level. So if you fall, either you're gonna fall into the void and die, or you're gonna fall to an earlier part of the level and lose a bunch of health. That's another thing that Crash did over Mario. Mario 64 has fall damage and Crash doesn't. And now you're gonna platform through all that shit all over again. It's unfair. That shit's brutal. No, thank you. Mario 64 is absurdly dated, and I think it just doesn't hold up as good as people think it does. People say it's one of the best Mario games ever made. It sure gave us a lot of cool 3D staples, I suppose, but like the rest of it and how it plays, no. It's too dated. And I don't know what the fuck possessed Nintendo to say, hey, let's remake this classic game for the DS. Not the Wii. Let's not remake it from the ground up with cool new graphics for the Wii or the GameCube or whatever. For the DS. No. Why did they do that? Oh, and by the way, let's make the player move the character by touching on the touchpad. What? I have 64 DS. I tried to play when I was a kid, and I was like, this sucks. Like, this sucks. It's not good. Neither of those two games, in my opinion, are very good. 64 is not a very good game. To me. If you guys here like it, or if you're watching this back as a video, and you like it, awesome. I'm not saying people who like it suck. I'm just saying the game, it's not very good. It's very dated. Yeah, let me catch up on comments for a minute. I saw Solid's in here. What's up? This weird dream of a Gex game where he's fighting this mafia composed of characters from preschool shows trying to capture the mind share of kids. Well, that's interesting. I could see that being a thing, actually. Oh, man. Yeah, Melancholy, you would have loved it. Yeah, I went to those E3s. It was so cool. Getting to play Spyro Reignited at E3. Because they recreated the arches that are in Magic Crafters. Excuse me, wait. Did I not? Excuse me? Glimmer. Oh, shit! I didn't do... Oh, god damn it. How did I skipped it. No one told me. Or if you did, sorry. I probably didn't read the chat. I fucking skipped Colossus. God damn it. I was like, am I missing a level? That has never happened before. You know why, too? No, you know why? Because I was talking... I came over here, I was gonna hop into Colossus, and then I was like, oh wait, I can swim now, and I went to go get the... Yeah, I went to go get the orb right there. And I didn't dawn on me that... Oh, yeah, Melancholy. The trailer where he looks at the kid dressed as Sonic. Oh, yeah, no, Bubsy tried to do its thing where it's like, move over, Sonic, watch out, Mario, Bubsy's back, and it's like, nah, dude, you don't have that kind of cred. You can't do that, I'm sorry. You ever realize, too, that besides Crash, everyone else who tried to do that, move over, Crash, step aside, Mario, they were the ones that went obscure. Because Croc did that. Croc, like, there's the promo of him like eating Crash and Lara Croft and all them, and then there's the one of Ty where he puts Sonic, Spyro, and Crash in like the hospital, and it's like, but they never took off. Not to the degree that those ones did anyway. So maybe the moral of the story is don't brag like you're gonna be the next hot thing, because that's more than likely gonna mean you're not gonna be the next hot thing. Don't try and get too big of a cock there. Don't be too confident in that sense. Don't brag. Hey, we're the new kids on the block. Step aside, old timers. Like, but for some reason, Crash did it, and it became a staple of his in terms of promotional nonsense to do that. Mustache Man, Plumber Boy. In fact, again, that GDC talk. There's a slide that Paul Yan showed where they were trying to discern what Crash 4 was going to be and what it wasn't, and what was in the middle, and that's where you got that poster that said Wumpa League that was tucked at the bottom of the screen, and on what it wasn't, there's a poster that says Plumber Boy, and I thought that was really funny, because it's like they're still making references to that.
Hey.
But, yeah, I don't know how Crash got... I'm glad Crash got away with it. I don't know how he did, but, everyone else who did, yeah, didn't. Yeah, because Bubsy, there's an image of Bubsy dressed as Sonic, or there was a kid dressed as Sonic, and Bubsy's all being smart with him, and it's like, stop. No. But yeah, no. So the things they did, the arches that you see in Magic Crafters in Reunited, they recreated those in real life. And that's how you get into the booth to go to the kiosk to play the game. You go through an arch, and it's so fucking dope. They put a few of them out, and you go through them, and it's so cool. Yeah, if you guys haven't, I would recommend after this stream, if you want to see the E3 experience from when I went, check out my vlogs. I don't vlog very often because my life is not interesting. But it's more so when I go out to a convention or I go out to some kind of event like that, I'll try to do a vlog. If it's very nerdy and gamery like E3, you can bet I'll vlog it. So I did a vlog on the 3 years that I went on E3 2017, 18, and 19. So I recommend you guys check those out. You can see all the stuff that they had there at the time, what the booths and kiosks and exhibits and stuff looked like. And I met some cool people. I met Josh Jepson. I met Jordan Fringe. I met Jeremy Dooley because he's a big Spyro fan. I met E3 2017. I met Andre. I met Black Nerd. And then I met Kareen Windy, who had a big hand of in Nitro Field. She was really big on. She was really active on Twitter regarding Nitro Field. Who else did I meet? Let's see. Oh, I also ran into Shigeru Miyamoto, but I didn't get any footage of that because we didn't want anyone to film him. I saw him in person. I didn't get to he was with his bodyguards, and every time I saw from a distance, I saw people trying to go up to Miyamoto just to say hi, and they were friendly about it, of course. But Miyamoto just wanted to look around the booths and just to kind of hang around. But his guys, his bodyguards, were like, in a friendly way, of course, in a nice way, we're waving them off like he doesn't want to really be bothered. He wants to just look at the stuff. And people were like, okay, and they walked off. And they would, if they got a chance, he'd be like, hey, and he'd be like, hey. That's as much as we were able to do, unfortunately, because oh fuck, I would have for sure tried to include him in some way in the vlog. Shit, man, that was a moment for sure. Because I almost accidentally ran into one of his bodyguards. I almost bumped him from behind because I was looking at my phone and I looked up at the last second and I stopped myself because I almost ran into this Japanese guy in a suit, and I was like, oh, I'm sorry. And I looked over and I'm like, I see these other guys in suits looking just like him, and I'm like, oh, that's weird. I'm like, who are these guys? And then I see someone in the middle, And then I see him, that guy in the middle, looking around, and I noticed his hairstyle, and I was like, what? And then he turned his head to such a way where I'm behind them and I see his face. I'm like, that's Miyamoto. I was like, oh shit. So that was pretty big. Even if I didn't get to say hi or anything like that was pretty big. I almost had the potential. I was within the same. I was 5 feet away from Shigeru Miyamoto. It was cool. A year later, we were in line. Wes and I were in line to play Ultimate, Smash Bros. Ultimate, and we saw Reggie and Bill Trinan walking to this little behind the area, wherever part, and people were like going like, Reggie, Bill, and then someone goes, the guy right in front of me, I think, looks up and he's like, hey Reggie, is your body ready? And he looks at him and he looks at him and continues, doesn't even stop walking, and in his very Reggie way just goes, it's always ready. And he walks off and we were all laughing and I'm like, dude, that's so Reggie. It was awesome. It was funny. It was really cool. See that's just how they are in person. Like how you see them in the directs and all that. Like they're just so wholesome. It's really cool. And they love the memes. They love their in jokes and all that. I would love to actually like meet them and talk to them. Because we were in line, so I mean, you know, we couldn't just get out of line and go say hi, or you know. And they were walking off somewhere, because they're all doing stuff and whatnot in the background. So I mean, you know. But yeah, so yeah, we didn't capture a whole lot of moments like that. Like those big moments weren't captured in my vlogs. But if you want to see other people, like Josh Jepson or like someone else, like Jordan Fringe and all them, in my vlogs, you want to go and watch those. Let's see. Yeah, Kiwi. It'd be interesting to see how KO goes. It does feel very much like Crash from what little I played. Yeah, we'll see. Because thankfully with Crash and Spyro, I mean, so far anyway, they're back. I mean, again, with Spyro we want a new game, but for the most part, I mean, especially Crash, I mean, you know, they're back, which is awesome. Which is awesome. Excuse me. So, Insane wasn't a one and done deal. Reignited hopefully isn't a one and done deal, and I don't think it will be. But it's just the timing of it all screwed up some stuff. What am I missing? I got that one. I got the one down here. Okay, the only one I could think of is the one over inside here. I thought I got it, but I probably didn't. No, I didn't. Okay. Oop. Yeah, I don't know how KO's gonna do, but I am hoping that, hey, if it does good, hopefully if it does good, I want a physical release of KO 3 in the US, because it's a PAL exclusive. And I don't know if I have it within me right now, well, especially not right now, but I don't know if I really want to go that far as to try and find online. I have a Japanese PS1, I have 2 of them in fact, but I don't know if I want to go out and find a PAL PS2 just to play KO 3. I mean, sure, that means I could play PAL versions of, like, other games. PS2 or 1. But, yeah, there is no US release for KO 3. KO 1 and 2 came here, but not the third game. They are on, like, some website somewhere you could download them and play them on PC, but I'd rather have a physical copy, because I do want to get KO for Dreamcast. I want the first game on Dreamcast, and I want the second game on PS2. So, that's what I'm striving for. I don't think I'm going to get those before the new one comes out, because the new one's coming out, what, in summer, I think, or spring? So it's coming out soon. But whenever I can get my hands on the original 2, and hopefully somehow, some way, at some point, the third one, I do want to play the originals. Because actually, I was going to do it today. I still might. I don't know yet. But I do kind of want to play the original Klonoa before Fantasy Reverie comes out. Because Fantasy Reverie looks awesome, and I do want to play it. I'm gonna buy it. I'm actually gonna buy it on PS4 so I can stream it, or PS5, one of the two, so I can stream it. At that point, I can get it on any console I want, basically, because again, once I get my new stream set up, we're gonna be able to play whatever we want. But it'll be easier if it looks cleaner on something like PS4 or 5, I guess. So even if the new stream setup doesn't work, I can at least, if I have to resort to it, do this and stream straight from the console. I am stupid. But I don't have a physical copy of the first game. I have never played. We don't own and we haven't played the second game. But a long time ago, I bought the digital version of the first game on the PS3 store. So the PS3 I can play it on PS3. Yeah, because I played a little bit of it. I didn't get too far, so I want to try and beat that game. My brother Victor did play a lot more of it, and he actually got pretty far into it. He says he was, from what he can recall, he keeps telling me, he didn't get quite to the end, but he got, I think, close. But that was years ago. Neither of us have played it pretty much since then. So I would love to go back to the original Klonoa before Fantasy Reverie comes out.
You may have been able to defeat that.
I'm gonna let this cutscene go. I'm gonna take some time to catch up on the chat.
Bring it on,
Isn't Glover one of those games people will get high on before playing it? Yeah, probably. Glover's fucking graphics, like I said, are not very good at all.
Destroy him and make sure it's painful. What? Go! Get me out of here!
Yeah, it is. It's sad because it's the better version that's ruined by being on the DS. Yeah, for the most part.
What a wuss.
Yeah, Ty. I think Crash got away with it because he did it so uniquely. I mean, that's true. Because the ad is so popular. Him driving up to Nintendo, pulling off the sheet with all the TVs with Crash on it, like, that was fucking cool. And it was very 90s. Injecting that attitude that Crash is known for. It's not quite on Sonic's level of attitude, but it's still that 90s platformer-tude. And,
That Ripto has caused enough damage.
having that friendly competition with Mario, who was the head honcho for it at the time,
Spyro, I'd be bankrupt.
for platforming and for whatever at the time.
If Ripto were here, I'd give him
I
a
suppose
piece
it did,
of my
because it
mind.
wasn't limited to just
I'd
the
give him a lot more than
magazine
that.
ads and promos and
I
stuff.
was
It was a
champion
whole fucking
bantamweight
commercial.
boxer at university, and
So
I still know a few moves. Take that and that.
I still think that, I don't think Insane actually did it. I think they missed an opportunity to be able to do that again, because how funny that everything comes around full circle in that sense, because you had in 1996 Mario 64 and Crash 1 competing against each other to see, people have always said which one's the better platformer of that year. And then nearly just over 20 years later, 2017, you have Mario Odyssey, which strived to go back to that open world-esque formula of 64 and Sunshine, but 64. It has its blatant 64 references in it. And then Insane, a direct, complete and utter remaster of the older games. And even though they brought the guy in the Crash suit back and all that stuff, they didn't do that. They didn't call Mario out again. That would have been funny. Because could you imagine that if Activision and VV, heard, or not even so much as heard, but I mean, it was the hugest announcement for a Mario game that it was going to be this open world platformer for Mario. For them to catch wind of Odyssey and then sneak something in for Crash to say, like, hey buddy, your Odyssey is coming to an end or something, like, that would have been really funny. I wish they did something like that. It would have been just a direct throwback to the 90s. It would have been really cool. But okay, we're gonna go on to Spyro 3 in a minute. First, I want to do at least one level, and I think I'll do Skills Badlands. I missed that fucking dance battle, and I hate that I missed it, cause you know for a fucking fact that would have gone into my vlog. And I blame Wes for it because Wes wanted to leave. We had to drive. We didn't. The hotel that we had, thankfully, the hotel during E3 2019 that we got, because Wes didn't go with us that year. It was me, Vic, and we met up with G-Man. We took the train. This is how I go to Miharu's house, by the way. We have to like take the train from our city here into another city, and then we transfer to a bus, and it takes us into LA. So that's the first time we had to do that to get to E3 2019. It was both Vic and I, and the hotel we stayed in that year had a shuttle to go to E3. It was that close to where we could get on a little bus and it would take us to E3, to the convention center. I don't think that the hotel, because it was the same one across the both years, for 2017 and 2018, when Wes and I went, we drove to LA, just straight from here to LA. We drove, and we also, we also drove into the convention center, into the parking lot. So because we drove, and because of whatever Wes was the one who was driving at the time, I didn't even have my license at the time. Whenever he wanted to leave, that was his call. So the day that happened, he was like, I'm getting kind of tired, and we have like, what, an hour left until the convention ends or closes. Let's just leave now. And I was like, okay. I mean, I played all of what I wanted to play, and I met some cool people or whatever. Like, I guess we can leave. I didn't really want to, but I didn't have a say in it. He was the one who was driving, so I was like, okay, fine. He wanted to just chill and eat at the hotel. And that's when the fucking dance battle happened, and I was like, fuck! That's awesome, that's funny, that's silly, and I love it, and I wish I was there to film it and see it in person. It also sucks because, I want to say, well, no, not even want to say, for E3 2017, I missed the chance to fucking meet Jason Rubin. That is a bucket list thing for sure. Before I die, I want to meet either or both. It'd be awesome if both, but either Jason Rubin or Andy Gavin. If not for them and not for making Crash, I honestly don't know what my life would have been like. Having just that deep of an attachment to Crash led to a deep attachment to games in general and all kinds of different platformers, and leading into what I do on YouTube and leading on to who I've met because of Crash and Spyro. So I kind of have Jason Rubin and Andy Gavin a thing for my life for the most part, at least in terms of nerdy gaming shit and whatever. So nerdy gaming, I hope that isn't, I'm a little stuffed up, so I hope that didn't sound weird. Nerdy gay shit. Them and Zimbillis. Oh my god, I would love to meet Charles Zimbillis. You know what? You know what? I never went beyond planning in my head, but I think he still does it now. Charles Zimbillis is a teacher for video game concept art, for character creation rather, or not video game necessarily, even cartoon, for animated, for cartoon characters, for conceptualizing and designing cartoon characters. He's a teacher at some, I think, Arizona University for that or something, or it's an art school or something like that. It's an art school, and I wanted at one time. I was thinking about joining that class online, but I never did. But I was like, that'd be fucking awesome to learn from him. Okay. But I did go to the E3 Coliseum, that Crash panel. I need a better way to do this than, you know, the cheesing way. It was in Arizona. I went to the E3 Coliseum panel where it was the 20 years of Crash. for E3 2017. It was Jason Rubin, Andy Gavin, Connie Booth, and I see his face. What's his name? Oh my god, why am I forgetting? A Big Red Button, Sonic Boom. What the hell's his name? Oh my god, I fucking... Oh, Jesus, that's so bad. What is his name? What the fuck is his name? We threw out his name! Shit! What is his... I'm not kidding. He worked for Naughty Dog, he worked on Crash and Jack, he was one of the big heads behind Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric. Oh, you fucker. I see his face, I'm forgetting his name. Why am I forgetting his name? That's bad. Oh. What the... have I seen that? I don't think I've seen that before. My number 9 and Ukulele got announced. They were high-fiving Banjo and Mega Man while Crash looked depressed with Knack. That's funny. Oh, that's actually cool. Did you actually... Were you there for that? Melancholy says the only E3 I went to was, by complete surprise, the year Nintendo brought back the World Championships. Did you actually go? Did you actually attend that? Because I think to attend that, all you needed to do, because I think that was part of E3, wasn't it? I think it was anyway. Yeah, all you needed to do was, like, I think just be registered and be someone who was going for the 3 days or whatever. I think. Or you needed a ticket. One of the two. What's up, D&D? What the fuck is his name? Oh my god, it's bothering me. I'm stretched. I'm so mad about it. I'm actually gonna get some water. Give me a minute. Let's see if I can remember his name. I'll get some water. I'm probably just gonna look it up. Oh, special passes. Here, I'll read that in a minute. The one I really want to meet was Satori, but I know, man. That would have been awesome to see Iwata there. We got special passes because we were the first ones in line to go watch it. Wow, that's awesome. So I didn't realize we were VIP until the last day. That's amazing. Because for me, the only special thing I got to do at an E3 was, besides the Coliseum thing, was because all you needed for the Coliseum was just your pass to show that you were there for that day and all that. And you had to go to a whole separate theater down the street from the convention center, and we had to go through like a fucking metal detector and all that stuff, so that was pretty crazy. But the other special thing I got to do for E3 was E3 2019. We Wes and I, again, we were in line for Smash Brothers, but we went, I think, all 3 days. But for the first day, we got the pass that allows you to go to that other, like, early line. So you can cut the main line and you have your own separate little line to play up on the so if you guys have seen other people's videos or vlogs about E3 2019, that year they had this gigantic fucking screen. Oh, not 2019, 2018 I meant to say, my bad, 2018. They had a gigantic screen, and that screen was good for showing off that huge character roster, like that one pick. But also, while you were waiting or watching and looking up or looking around, you could see battles and gameplay going on, and it wasn't demo stuff. It was people playing up on this particular area within the area where you get to play Smash Brothers. You have the main floor where you play Smash Brothers if you're just in the normal line, but in the special line, you go up on these, you go up some stairs, and you're right up here on this other little upper part, and some of those, like 4 of those, they had like fucking like 10 or 20 of them, or 15 or something, consoles and setups and kiosks, but like 4, some of them were hooked up to the screen, so you could, or I think they would place all of them at random, and you would see those fights up there on the screen. It was fucking insane. That was pretty cool. I'm forgetting his name, but yeah, he was part of E3 Coliseum. I'm gonna look it up, because it's bothering me. I see his face. He looks like Ed Boon, and Ed Boon's name keeps popping up in my head, but that's obviously not him. So, give me a sec. I am so forgetting his name, and it's so sad, and it's bad. What is the dude's name? Bob Raffay. God, yeah, Bob. It's Bob Raffay or Bob. I think Raffy people say sometimes. God, I forgot his name. I'm so sorry. What's the most disappointing thing about Reignited? The music. And we had a whole discussion earlier about the music and the some of the character, not portrayals, but the neutering of, or should we say Spain? I don't know. Oh, that's bad. I'm sorry. Bianca's character arc. If you watch Miharu's videos on Bianca, especially the one that I edited, the big one that she's known for, that's all you need. That was a pretty big. That was a pretty big offender right there. It's pretty disappointing. But, it's a bad joke, I'm sorry. It's a sexist joke, I think. I apologize profusely. The music is, we had a whole, I'm not going to retread it, but Steven Mankov, I mean, tried, of course, but I don't think he really captured that feel. Captures the Stuart Copeland feel of the music. Let's see. Went to go see the tournament before E3, but we didn't have any presses to go to actual E3 for Ultimate. Oh, we could. I know. I don't think. Did you know me at that point in terms of like coming to the streams and stuff? You probably did. Oh man, did you talk to me about that at all? Were you like, oh hey, you're going, I might go to, some people said that, because there was, wasn't it Jake? What was it, can you stop or something was his @name? I haven't actually heard from him in a while, I don't know if he's still on Twitter, but, he is a big Crash and Spyro fan, and I met him E3 2018, and then I met him again, I saw him again, at 2019. I don't remember if you and I ever talked about E3. I don't know if you were ever like, hey, I might do this. I don't know why I gave you that voice, I'm sorry, but I don't remember if you ever did that. I met some random guy who just knew me off. That was weird. For once in my life. That's the only time it's happened. The one time in my life. I have no idea who this guy was. I don't know if he's anyone that is any of you guys that I just didn't stop to think of. Because he said sometimes in the vlog, I asked him if he wanted to be part of the vlog. So it's E3 2017, and Wes and I are both in line for Crash, because Wes wanted to try a little bit of Crash, and we're there, and we were talking about stuff, and then the guy in front of Wes, because it's the guy in front of us, but Wes was in front of me. So the guy in front of Wes hears us talking and turns around, and we're just making conversation. But then he looks at me, and he's like, hey, I think I know you. And I'm like, huh? Because I've never seen this guy before in my life. And he goes, oh, you do Crash videos on like YouTube, don't you? I'm like, yeah. He goes, what's your name? Is it Destination Mark, right? And I'm like, yeah. Hello. Like, for the first time in my life, I got recognized for being a YouTuber, and I was like, whoa, that's fucking weird. I've never felt that before. I've never, like, You know, you see it happen all the time to like, I mean, I met Josh Jepson. I was that exact way to Josh and to Jordan Fringe and to C&D. But to get that myself, I was like, that's fucking weird. That's why I wish Miharu would want to go to like conventions like that and stuff. Because could you fucking imagine if she got recognized? That'd be so fucking cool. But yeah, I thought that was so funny. I was like, that's weird. That feels weird. It feels cool, but it feels weird. But yeah, no, I love, and then fucking Jake fucking comes up and is like, oh, by the way, I know like this is kind of weird because you usually talk about this in like a weird way, but like, I am also one of those ones that kind of knew you through Painbusters. I'm like, you fucking what? I'm like, you've known me since Painbusters? I'm like, dude, I'm sorry. I'm like, that's, oh boy, that's so long ago. Like, I'm glad I did Painbusters, but the content's just cringy. It's just me and my friends being stupid, as we usually do, even off camera. So, I mean, it's whatever, but... I was like, wow. It's always very weird. I mean, Zark, you're still in the chat. Zark fucking... I think he is anyway. I think he was on BRB, but Zark's known me since Trash Talk on Westside Studios. So we have another channel called Westside Studios. If you know of Chase and Wes and Jeremiah, not Jeremiah Isaiah, our friend over here, our local friend, Jeremiah, from VidGames FTW, and I don't use this to plug, I bring these up because we have other channels. So, my Let's Play channel, where my friends come on to play games and we do stuff, it's VidGames FTW. But also, at the time that I started this channel, and I started VidGames, those were all in the early 2010s. So all these channels are 10 years old now at this point. In fact, I think, okay, actually, I should probably mention now. So, I have to go back and find out when. I kind of hope it already didn't happen, or else I missed it. But Destination Mark, the channel, will be turning 10 years old this year, I think. If not next year, but I think it's this year. So, I don't know what I'm going to do for that. But it's not going to be anything too big, because I'm not a big channel. But for those who have met me through Westside Studios, or VidGames FTW, or even Painbusters, I want to do something for the 10-year anniversary. Not too big, but enough to celebrate. So, there's that. But, let's see if you guys might be able to grab a bite with some of my friends after the tournament. Oh, God, is that what happened? Oh, jeez, I don't even... Wow. I hope I didn't sound like a dick. What did I say? Was I like, oh, maybe if we have time? Like, I don't know what I said. If they do E3 in person next year, I'd be down to go. I mean, me too. I was super looking forward to doing E3 2020, but then after COVID happened and lockdown happened, nothing, every convention, everything was like, nope, not this year. So, I do want to do another E3 again. I am more than down to go back. So yeah, if anyone here wants to go to E3 in LA, you can always hit me up, because if I have plans, I'll definitely make them known on Twitter or on YouTube. I'm not doing Lava Lizards. Okay, we're pretty much done with everything I want to do here, so I think we'll move on to Spyro 3. We will defeat Spike in that game. Get to, what's it? Evening Lake. And then we'll call it a stream. Alright, D&D. If you don't see how it's different, and you haven't watched Miharu's video on it, definitely watch Miharu's video on it, because that will give you all the subtle details, the bigger details of things they changed about her and her demeanor and her delivery of lines that do diminish how they were said and how she did those things in the original game. because they were more impactful in the original game, and that translation didn't come through in Reignited. So, you watch that video again. Even if you've already seen it, watch it over again. I actually, you know what? While we do this, and while the cutscene is playing, I'll actually link you guys to that so you can watch it. I mean, it's one of her biggest discussion videos that she's made on her channel. So I would highly recommend that you, that anyone watch that if you haven't. Have a small meat called the Destination. Called Mark's Destination. Did you know that one of the working titles for this channel was literally Mark's Corner? It was like, it was halfway inspired. It was inspired by Pooh Corner from Winnie the Pooh. But I was like, that sounds weird. So I changed it. Because when so the first YouTube channel that we made after Painbusters, and Wes and I wanted to try YouTube together, was West Side Studios. It's not West Side, it's West Side because it's West. So it was just because he was the of our little duo, our dynamic, he's the fucking weird, silly, raunchy one of the two of us. So he's the fool to like my straight man if we were like a comedy duo. So to always throw in a weird reference for him or to him or something was always like our jokes. That was something that we would do just to fuck with him and be funny. So we named the channel after him in that regard. But then we were like, hey, this is our collaborative channel, but I want my own channel too, and he wanted his own channel. So I was like, okay, well, let's spin off Westside into our own channels. Let's theme them after something. And we themed them after location. And since it's YouTube, and it's always like, it's like your corner or your, you know, like this is like your channel or your whatever. It's like our space. This is our space you could come to. This is our location, our whatever you could come to. That was kind of the way we thought about it, I guess. So his was Weston Boulevard. So we incorporated our names into it too. So it was like West Side Studios having his nickname. His channel incorporated his full name. And my channel incorporated my nickname, so it was going to be either Mark's Corner or something else. I had a paper, I think I had a paper. If I did, I wish I kept it, because I don't have it. If I did have one, because I can't remember to begin with, where I wrote down a bunch of names for the channel, and something about the way Destination Mark just kind of rolled off the tongue, sort of, I guess, stuck. And I was like, that sounds good, whatever. I was like, what, 17, 16 at the time. So that became the channel name, and there you go. It was 10 years ago, that's fucking nuts.
Hi, Spyro.
Hello, Zeri. Please shut up. I know how to play video game. Yeah, of course Spyro's trending.
In charge of rescuing the eggs, huh?
I'm glad that Spyro's trending.
How sad.
Spyro always deserves to
Look here,
trend.
Dragon. If you know what's good for you, you'll turn around and crawl back into that hole you came through.
Crawl
Those
back
eggs
into
belong
that
to
hole
us
you came
now,
through.
And I've hidden them in places you'll
Crawl
never
back
find
up that
in
hole you
1,000
came from.
years. Besides, even if you could find any eggs,
Pussies!
our
You
experts
should have left the
trained
wording
arms
like
will
that.
hunt
That's
them
just
down and
funny.
take them back. Do I make myself clear? If I find you here again, I'm
'Cause
going to be very
when
angry.
Insomniac wrote
And
that
you
line,
won't like me when
it's
I'm
not like it was
angry.
meant to sound like an innuendo or anything like that. But Toys for Bob looked at it and said, well, you could label it as such. It sounds dirty, and it's like, only if you think about it in that context. You didn't have to change it. Same thing with Nitrofield when they changed slaves to minions. It's like, okay, slaves is a general term. It's not talking about anyone specific. No one's gonna ever think about it in that context unless you make them think. So, whatever. One of those confusing changes that I'm just like, why? There's no point, there's no reason.
I saw some.
Coltrane.
This
So yeah, like I said before in the update video, I'm not going to be streaming a whole lot this month. I'm going to be focusing on trying to get the room cleaned up and rearrange a little bit, more organized, get the PC, and try and get that all set up and organized. So hopefully, I'm not going to say anything too... I'm going to say what I want to shoot for. It's not what's probably going to happen. I would like for it to happen, but it's not guaranteed. I would like to be back with regularly scheduled streams and videos by like mid to late May. So I don't know, but mid to late May, because I'm not going to see Miharu again in person until May. And whether or not I get my PayPal and bank account online stuff set up fully the way they're supposed to be, I don't know how long transfers of money like that take, and I've never done it before. I figured it'd be easier for her to like cash out that money and just give it to me in person. That's still an ongoing, you know, more personal conversation I'm having with her, but point being, I will have the money soon for the new setup. Then we've got to look for a setup, buy the setup, receive the setup, set up the setup, and then I'll be back, put everything back on, put Adobe back on, put everything, all my programs and everything back on, and then I'll be back making content. But it should hopefully not take that long. I don't want it to take too long. So I don't want to miss being able to do stuff for any new games that come out soon, which there are a few. Like I said, I want to do Portal whenever it comes out for Switch. I want to do Klonoa. I want to do Battle League. So PS5 chat, stop breaking. So yeah. Also, when I do go see Miharu again in person at her place, I saw her last in November, and we were super totally planning to stream because I saw her twice last year. I went to her place and hung out with her in June, and we streamed Jak and Daxter on her channel. After that, I saw her again in November, so just a few months ago, but I brought my mic, because we used my mic for that Jak stream, that's why it sounded very weird and a little bit different, and I brought the mic back in November, because we were planning to stream something, but we were like, let's watch some movies, and then we watched a bunch of movies over that visit. We watched, like, I think 10 movies. We watched the first 4 Harry Potter movies, the first 3 Home Alones, the 2 Jingle All the Way movies, and then we watched this like Home Alone-esque like kind of ripoff. And it's this girl alone in a school, and these people come to take something or do something off the school, or like rob the school of its like funds or whatever, or it was some bizarre shit. And she sets traps for them or whatever, and it was a Home Alone ripoff. But it wasn't a very good movie. Because we were watching it, and we were hoping, like... Well, okay, we were looking for something to watch. And we're sitting there, and she was like, oh, this is kind of like a Home Alone movie. And she was like, but it takes place at a school. And she's like, that's interesting. You could do a lot in terms of traps and stuff at a school. You could use the school equipment and do some just really funny, wacky, fucked up shit in terms of traps. No, they didn't go that far. She puts on some kind of like Grim Reaper costume or something, or a mask, and scares one of them. Ooh. She traps one of them in the janitor's closet. Ooh. Like, those aren't... I mean, well, that's a trap. That she trapped her, but they're not booby traps. They're just weird. It was weird. It was a weird movie. But we gave it a shot because we had just watched the first three, and we were still up, and we were like, huh, what about this one? Or no. We were planning to watch the Home Alone movies, but then she saw that one, and she was like, well, let's watch this one first. I'm curious. And I'm like, okay. Watch that one. It was underwhelming. So we were like, let's watch actual Home Alone. And then we did, and we were like, yeah, no, this is where it's at. So that's like all we did, was just watch movies. But next time I go see her, which should be next month, we might try and stream again this time. Won't be for very long. That's probably barely an hour or so, because our plan now is to try and watch Lord of the Rings and Hobbit, as much of any of them as we can get through, because I haven't seen really much of any of those films before, and Miharu hasn't seen any of the extended versions of Lord of the Rings before. So last night, actually, this guy is, okay. Last night, actually, Miharu and I were, looking up the run times for the extended editions of Lord of the Rings. Dear God. They're like 4.5 hours? Very close. One of them is like 4 hours and 40 minutes. That's nearly 5 hours! How can you stretch a movie of a fantasy, let's go get the bad guys, to 5 hours? Oh, God. But I want to see, because I'm curious, like, what they did with those extended versions. So, I'm gonna get the main story that everyone knows, and by the way, you know, for those who may not know, because I sure as hell didn't, the regular versions of those movies, the theatrical versions, are each in their own right, like, over 3 hours. And it's like, fuck. I mean, it's still pretty rare to come across movies that are that long. Like, what? I think, Endgame, Avengers Endgame was like 2.5 or 2 hours and 40 minutes or something like that. That was pretty long. And I think Spider-Man No Way Home was about 2 hours and 20 minutes or something like that. That's pretty long. It's just enough, it's just short enough to not feel like it's trudging on, but it's not short to where it feels like it is over as soon as it began, you know? It's an okay length. But 4.5 hours. Oh boy. Also, I've been talking about it on Twitter, but I'm actually starting to watch all the Star Wars movies for the first time. The only two I ever saw before binging them with the family now is Episode 3 and Episode 4. Yeah. I've seen scenes from the other movies, but I had never watched just all the Star Wars films. So this weekend or last week or something like that, well, we started watching them. Me, my brother, and my mom. We were watching them. We started with the no. We started with the originals. Then we went to the prequels. We just finished Episode 3, like what, 2 days ago. So I have now officially watched all the originals and all the prequels. So we were gonna start. My mom's having a dinner with a coworker, a coworker friend, a female coworker, after work. So we're not gonna have time to watch it tonight, but because we were gonna watch episode 7 tonight, but we'll get started on the sequel soon. It's at some point this week. Because I also, after we do Star Wars, I want to get my mom to watch to rewatch all the Spider-Man films because we pre-ordered No Way Home on DVD, and we're gonna watch it when it comes out. But she has no clue about anything about No Way Home besides the only returning character for nostalgia's sake, quote unquote, that she's seen and heard of that's in the film is Doc Ock. That's it. She has no idea about Green Goblin or anyone else. And I still won't spoil it in case anyone here still hasn't watched No Way Home. But for those of you who've seen it, you know everything that happens in that movie. And it's fucking cool and awesome and crazy. So she knows nothing about it. She just knows Doc Ock's in it, and that's it. And she doesn't know why. She's like, yeah, like, it's cool he's back, but, like, I don't know the context. I'm like, good. Fucking, like, you'll know once you watch Far From Home and then come back into this one. And just having watched, you know, all of the Tobey Maguire films and all the Andrew Garfield films. Because that's what Victor and I did. When Victor and I, before we saw it in theaters, I love Ned. And that's pretty funny. Before Vic and I went to go see No Way Home in theaters, day one, we had a binge every single day. We timed it to where one movie a day, every day, up until December 17th or 18th, I think it was, 17th? When the movie came out in theaters. So the day before we went to go see No Way Home was when we saw Far From Home again. So we watched them all. We started with, you know, Spider-Man 1, 2, 3, Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, and then Homecoming, Far From Home, and then No Way Home in theaters. So we won't be able to do, let's see, one a day would have to be today. And again, we can't watch anything today, so one a day until the movie comes out on DVD would have to start today. We'd have to watch the first Spider-Man today. But if she wants to just, if my mom wants to just binge multiple movies per day, then we could do like all 3 Tobey Maguires, and then 2 Andrew Garfields, and then all 3 Tom Hollands. Or we could do 4 and 4 and just go like, you know, 3 Tobey Maguires, the first Andrew Garfield, and then the next day, second Andrew Garfield, and then all of the Tom Hollands. So I don't know. I'll have to talk to her about it. But I'm excited. And the funny thing, it's so funny because, I don't know, I'm one of those people who you would have raged, you probably still will after learning this about me. Because everyone is such a huge fan of Star Wars. You don't even have to be like a nerd to be into Star Wars. Or a huge mega fan to be into Star Wars, but, you know, everyone knows Star Wars. Everyone's seen the originals and loved the originals. Everyone has seen and been really divisive or very negative towards the prequels. And I only saw 2 movies ever in my life, all the way through, and that was a long time ago. Up until now, where now I'm watching them all from start to finish, in the order they were sort of intended, in the sense of watch the originals first, then watch the prequels, and then go into the sequels. And now I'm starting to be like, yeah, I'm into it, you know? It's something I wasn't into Star Wars before, because I've always, as a kid, liked R2-D2. But I was never like, hey, Mom, let's watch Star Wars, you know? And she was always hoping I would be like that, and I never really was. But now that we're watching them, now that I'm able to follow them a bit better, I'm like, you know what, it's not bad. And I don't hate the prequels. I think the weakest one's Attack of the Clones. That seems to be the general consensus. It's pretty boring, but there probably are some good. I'd have to watch them again to keep them in my head a bit better, because that was already a few days ago since we watched them. But I'd have to watch them again to really think of specific things. But I think that there are certain things, again, specifics, I'd have to watch them again to list, that could probably be gleamed off of, like certain songs or characters, like Darth Maul, or certain just themes or whatever, or fights, that were pretty cool to see, you know? I remember watching Revenge of the Sith as my first Star Wars movie. I had no idea it was so hated. I mean, same. No, same. I think the first movie I watched all the way through was Revenge of the Sith. So I was like, hey, whatever, it's a Star Wars movie. But it didn't make me think that all Star Wars movies were like that, with really hokey acting and really, you know, whatever. Like, no. I was just like, okay. It was fine. And watching it again, because I hadn't seen Revenge of the Sith in so long. Watching it again, I'm like, yeah, there's some weird moments in this film, but it feels the most like, okay, because it needs to be the one to be like, okay, we're establishing shit that's supposed to make sense by the time you go. If you are to watch the prequels first and then the originals, by episode 3, you're like, okay, now we're gonna start doing the movies. Like, we're gonna start doing shit that starts to set up where the characters are when you meet them in the original movies. Because when you meet them in the originals, they've got their proper introduction. Like, Yoda has a proper introduction. R2-D2 and C-3PO are like some of the first 2 characters you see in the fucking, you know, in episode 4. So it's not like the way they set them up and the way George Lucas set them up was to be like, alright, we're going to establish them in a very specific way, and if you want to know more about them, you're going to have to wait until we do the prequels. There was no really anything like that about the way the characters are introduced. Because episode 4, despite being called that, is still the first Star Wars movie. So, you're watching the first movie in that regard. They all have their introductions. All the characters who are characters that are in the prequels, you know, like Jabba, like other, you know, characters, they have proper introductions in both trilogies. So I thought that was fine. What else am I supposed to do here? I'm gonna do that. But the prequels more after watching the Clone Wars. Oh yeah, I remember trying to watch the Clone Wars as a kid, when it was relatively new. I didn't get too far in it, but I want to say it's on Disney Plus. If it is, then okay. Question. Actually, yeah, question. Is Rebels a continuation of Clone Wars under a different name? Because I remember it was Star Wars The Clone Wars, that's where Ahsoka and all them came in and they were introduced, and stuff like that. And it followed Obi-Wan, if I remember right. But then I stopped hearing about Clone Wars, and now there's Star Wars Rebels, I think. It still has Ahsoka in it and stuff like that, but I don't even know where any of that went, because it went for quite a long while. I just don't know if they kept the Clone Wars name, because they did for a while, and then I stopped hearing about Clone Wars, but I kept seeing these Star Wars branded, it was branded differently, but it was the same art style and the same characters, the same animation style and all that too. So I was like, is it like a different season, different name type of thing, or like
Is it just me?
is
or
Clone
she
Wars
kinda cute
done
when
and this
she's
is like it's
angry?
like sequel series or something? Like I actually don't know. I want to know. Solid, if you know or whoever knows, please tell me because I'm just curious. Because I think Rebels is one of the newest things that's out right now in terms of animated Star Wars stuff. Because there's the Obi-Wan show coming out real soon, and teasers and trailers are coming out for it like now, and there's Bad Batch I think is out already. Then there's I'm working backwards. Then there's Book of Boba Fett, and there's The Mandalorian. And I'm not going to watch those shows and stuff until I've already watched the sequels and I'm done with the main 9 films. Because we're not even going to jump into Rogue One or Solo just yet. I'll watch those later probably. But we're trying to just get through the episodes first, the main 9 movies. I don't know if that's the way they're meant to be watched or whatever, but like, I think that's how we're going to do it. So we've already gone 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. We're gonna go 7, 8, 9, and then I'll probably watch whichever ones, because I don't know. They're both like spin-off type movies, so I don't know which ones. I don't know if within the realm of those two, Solo and Rogue One, I don't know if they're meant to be watched in a particular order or not. But in terms of when they were released, I think it was Rogue One first and then Solo. So that's probably the way I'm gonna watch it. But I don't know yet. Rebels is a sequel series. It takes place between 3 and 4. Okay. Yeah, because it's young Obi-Wan that you follow in Clone Wars. I do remember that. Young as in like episode 3. Episode 3 Obi-Wan, if I remember right. That makes sense. Just watch them in release order. Okay. Yeah, release order. I'm right? It's Rogue One and then it's Solo. Because I have fucking no clue what Rogue One's about. I can only like speculate what Solo's about. Like I have a feeling it's probably gonna be like somewhere in the originals that before he meets up with Luke and all them probably. If I had to take a wild guess, I don't even know if I'm right or wrong. That's my assumption. Or maybe it's what happens after the originals. I don't know. But I have absolutely no clue what Rogue One's about at all. And actually, I don't know much about the sequel trilogy for that matter either. I just know certain characters and whatnot because people make fun of them, like Kylo Ren or whatever. I know Luke is in it, and Han is in it, and Chewie. My mom told me that they did pay homage to Leia. Besides that, I don't know. I don't know what the plots are, or people are also about as equally divisive, right? With the sequels as they are the prequels, as far as I'm aware. I've heard. The general consensus that I've heard is, so those of you who have watched the sequels, Solid, and then you guys can back me up if this is the case. What I've heard is episode 7 is an okay start. It's a relatively strong start to the new trilogy. But then 8 and 9 just get kind of weird, and stuff just kind of happens. Especially, I think I've heard in 9, like, stuff just happens. So, again, don't spoil anything. I don't know, but that's what I've heard. Like, strong start with 7, but 8 and 9 just kind of, like, do weird things, I guess. And they're not, like, I guess, either as memorable, or they're just, I don't know if they're confusing or what. Like, I'm not really sure. But people don't really care for those ones as much. Rebels finished the series around 2018, while Clone Wars finishes in 2020. Okay. Well, yeah, because Clone Wars... Yeah, Clone Wars... Not even in universe. I'm just talking about when the series itself came out. It came out in the 2000s. But like I said, I heard for some time. I saw that it came. What? What am I trying to say? I saw that it was there and it was going for several seasons. Because I tried to watch a little bit of it, but I didn't keep up with it. And then I stopped hearing it. I stopped hearing Star Wars The Clone Wars, and then I started hearing Star Wars Rebels, but it looked the same, and the characters were the same, so I was like, is Rebels, like, a different name for Clone Wars? Are they two separate shows? Like, that's where I was confused. Yeah, Zark, I will see you later, man. Thanks so much for stopping by. We're going to stop the stream. I think we probably won't even get to, we're going for how long now? Oh, that's pretty strong. 3 hours. I'll try to make it to the 3 hour, 30-minute mark, and we'll probably end there. Yeah, we're not gonna get to, we are not gonna get to, I'll try and at least get to Buzz. I think, yeah, we're super not gonna get to evenly. But as long as we get through just a good chunk, a small little chunk of Spyro 3, that's good for now. Like I said, I said this, I don't even think I completed the thought, but like I said earlier, I'm not going to be streaming as much this month because I want to get everything back under control with my channel and with my room, or with my PC and with my room. So, still absolutely no videos this month, and I might only do 1 or 2 more streams this month. But I wasn't even planning to do a stream today. I was actually planning to do a stream on Saturday. I may or may not still do it. At this point, since I'm doing a stream now for this week, for today, I might not follow up with the stream on Saturday. We'll play it by ear. But I wasn't planning on streaming today until I realized, oh shit, it's April 5th. That's when Reignited was announced. Because we did do a stream a few years back on the 1-year anniversary of the announcement. And in November this year too, of course, I'm going to do an anniversary stream for when it was released. And especially next year, we're going to do a 5-year stream, and we're going to do a 5-year stream of Insane in June. That's why I hope everything gets settled in, the new PC setup and everything hopefully gets settled in by May, so that way by June, we can do something. I want to go all out for Insane's anniversary. I might even do another, I might do a Crash Community Day 2.0. We'll see. And I'll contribute by doing like I'm going to do a bunch of videos. I'll do some videos for Insane, and we're going to stream the whole trilogy again. Not 100%, 117, like none of that. We're just going to do all of Crash 1, all of Crash 2, all of Crash 3. From beginning to Cortex, that's all we're going to do. We're not going to do anything. If I happen to get gems and stuff to the side, then that's fine, but I'm not going to necessarily go out of the way to try and complete any one level for all its goodies or whatever. We're just going for crystals primarily, and whatever, and just going to get to Cortex for each one. But I did that with Spyro for Spyro Community Day last year, 2020, or last year, something like that. So, we didn't beat anything. We beat Spyro 120%, I think, but we just went through the beginning to end for Spyro 1, Spyro 2, Spyro 3. So, the same thing is going to be in June for Insane, for its 5th anniversary. So, that's going to be pretty big. Might not get any Crash stuff officially this year, but at the very least we can do our own fan stuff. I'm pretty excited for that. I have the muscle right here in my eyebrow is like spasming. It's really weird. If you see my eyebrow kind of doing some weird shit, I apologize.
Do you want
I can feel it moving.
Out of the belfry.
I don't know why. Have you ever had that happen like in your arm or your leg? You look in the fold right in here and you see like your nerves going like, it like twitches. Like it's kind of restless or whatever. It's kind of what I'm feeling in my forehead right here. So if you happen to zoom in real close, if you for whatever reason you want to do that, and you happen to see that I'm like twitching right here, I don't know why it's happening. Yeah, I think we'll do Molten Crater, and then we'll do Seashell Shore. I'm skipping Bluto because fuck Bluto, and we will beat Buzz and then call it a stream. I'll probably hit the 3 hour 30 minute or 3 hour 40 minute. That's a pretty strong stream right there. Yeah, and also I should mention too, if you're watching this back as a video, then depending on when you're watching it back, if it's still within April or like early-ish or so May, yeah, this stream's gonna look kind of bare bones in terms of presentation on the channel. There's no thumbnail. No thumbnail, like official thumbnail. No description. I'm gonna leave all that stuff blank and whatnot. But if you're watching this back after I've already gotten the new setup and more content's already been on the channel for whatever, I'm trying to predict the future at this point. There will be a thumbnail. There will be the description. So it's temporary. If you happen to be watching this while we have no thumbnail and no description, then hey. You're watching the beta version of this stream. Oh, man, I'm getting hungry. I do not know what to eat. I barbecued this weekend, so I'll probably just have burgers if there are any more. The tasty lunch. Yeah, like I was saying, Solid, in terms of the laptop, or the PC, a laptop I'm not going to get until sometime way later, maybe. But in terms of my PC setup, my friend Chase is helping me try to find some computers that I could buy. He gave me 2 different models that I could get, that I could choose from. But as of right now, they're currently out of stock. So we're either going to wait for those ones to come back in stock, or we're going to just get some, we're going to look for some new, for some other models that I could go with, other computer towers. But money-wise, I will soon be secure. I'm not secure just yet, but soon, later this month, I will have the money needed. Which is good. That's all about tax returns, baby. Ow. Fuck. Vicky. What were you gonna tell me? Sure. Same hog. From Spyro 1. Yeah, this level we're gonna breeze through really quick. How many items do I have? Oh shit, we can just go to Seashell Shore right now. I didn't realize how many fucking... Yeah, we're gonna go through this real quick, probably. How long are we going for? Where are we? Yeah. Well, I could afford to hit my time, I guess. Okay, we probably won't even hit the 3 hour, 30 minute mark. We'll see. Everything goes faster when you're not going for shit.
Yeah.
Although I suppose I will go ahead and get the 2 eggs in this little bonus area. Guys, you don't understand. I am excited. I finally get to have like a proper streamer setup now. With that is gonna come just so many more opportunities to just stream all kinds of really good retro games. You understand how hyped I am. It's what I've been wanting to do for like ever. Because you can see it if you go back into the playlist I have of my live streams on the channel. You'll see that it started out the way I celebrated the announcement of Insane and the trailer and all that was to stream. Well, wait, was it Insane? It was 2016, so unless it was late 2016, it was probably just the general announcement of Crash's revival. I went ahead and I played through the entirety of the original Crash games, the original trilogy, in one stream. So that was awesome. I'm glad I got to do that. And then from there, I played games like Shantae, Half Genie Hero when it came out on the Wii U, and then we played Wario World. I tried playing a little bit of Skylanders: Spyro's Adventure to show why I didn't like that game. I played a little bit of the Crash GBA games, and if you really watch those last streams that were just varied and on different consoles, you'll see that like the streams were fucking up really bad, and they were just screen tearing like crazy, and it was just really, really awful. And it was just the program in my computer just not working properly with what it wasn't holding up, like internet connection wise or whatever. And so I had stopped streaming for a while there, and then when I got my PS4, I was able to stream from the console itself, and we've been doing that literally ever since. So for going on like 5 or 6 years now, that's what we've been doing, is just streaming only PS4 or 5 games. And any PS2 games I've streamed since then were ones that were released here on the PS Store. But, no, with our new setup coming in soon, oh boy, we're going to be able to stream so much stuff, and it's going to look good. And we're going to have our alerts, and hopefully by that point I will try and get the donation stuff set up, and that's going to be good. Okay, I don't believe I need any more gems for money bags or anything. All I'll do right now is just go get the chest over here. No, Moneybags is not in Seashell Shore at all, so I'm just gonna blast that level. It's not really a favorite of mine to begin with anyway. Even in the original, it's not really a level I cared about too much. But at least in the original, Bluto did not give me as much trouble as he does in this version. I don't know why. It's, I guess, the controls or something of the little jet thing you're on, but oh, it's shit. For me, it's shit. The Rankin Bass Hobbit movie? No, I haven't. Did Rankin Bass happen to do Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, the cartoon version of it? Because I watched that in school like a long fucking time ago.
Okay.
Was that them too, or was that someone else? Because I don't remember. There was an animated version of the Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. All I knew was a live action one, so I had no clue that there was an animated one. And we watched it in school, and I was like, this is fucking weird. Oh! Okay. Clone Wars got canceled when Disney bought Star Wars, but then they made Rebels. That's interesting. Okay, I didn't know that. Huh. Force Awakens is basically a New Hope remade. Well, 89. Well, it's Star Wars, I think. Good. That's a really good first impression for me. I mean, again, well, I've always heard that 8 and 9 were just the weird ones of the sequels. So, again, I went through each of these 6 films. Like, okay, is it great? Sure. Is it not great? What's it reputation-wise? Its reputation, people love it? Alright. People don't love it? Alright. Well, that's their opinions. I was going into it ready to form my own. I wanted to see if I thought differently about certain movies than the general public does. But because once I finish those movies, as it turns out, I mean, yeah, I'm pretty much in the same boat. Not to an extreme as everyone else goes. Like, oh, the prequels are shit. How'd they fuck up everything so much? Oh, Jar Jar's so fucking annoying. Like, no, I don't think that stuff. My issue with Jar Jar isn't that he's annoying. It's that he doesn't really have much character growth in Episode 1. So I don't know. Like, I'm fine with having the bumbling, annoying dork side comedic relief character. I'm fine with that. But there are times, and a lot of comedic relief characters do fall under this trap. When you then want to have a serious moment in your story, every character needs to feel the weight of these important things happening within the story. Meaning that, yes, the comic relief characters need to kind of have a fucking heart and not find a way to just make a joke out of the situation. And it's the way the writers write those characters. Sometimes that's what they gotta do. I mean, they're called the comedic relief. But you know a story is good when they can still show, when those characters can still show restraint and not have to be funny all the time. I'll give you an example. I love Korg in Star Wars Ragnarok. In Thor Ragnarok, I love Korg. He's fucking funny. I love him. But one part, and it's a small part, it didn't irk me a lot, but it irked me nonetheless, is at the very end, spoiler alert by the way, at the very end, they have to have the event of Ragnarok happen. They have to release Surtur to stop Hela. So they do that, and they evacuate all the Asgardians, and Loki helps to evacuate all the Asgardians, and Valkyrie's there, and they're all, and then Thor, you know, gets on the ship at the last minute, and they leave Asgard to be destroyed by Surtur, because Hela needs to stay there to have her control over Asgard, and she's like, you can't stop me, and that's where the meme comes from, you know, and Thor's like, yeah, I can't, but he can, and then you see Surtur erupt from the castle or whatever, and so that's what happens there, and there's this scene where it's coming to the end of the movie, and they're all the civilians, the you know, casual Asgardian civilians are distraught. Their home is being destroyed, and they're all just looking on in terror, in, you know, sadness and everything. And they start to and they set it up for this. Korg has a moment where, as the comedic relief, he tries to be the voice of reason, and he's like, at least the Foundation's still standing, and we can, you know, come back and rebuild the land again, and he's trying to be all heroic sounding, and then for a bit of comedy, the foundation of Asgard blows up, and the whole thing just destroys itself and blows up, and he goes, oh, I take it back. And it's like, okay, you didn't have to do that. None of that you didn't have to make the whole thing explode and him add on for it being a joke. No, why'd you do that? Like, there was no real restraint right there. It's a small moment, but it's still something that I was like, kind of rubbed me the wrong way. You didn't have to do that at all. As such, a lot of comedic relief characters are kind of like that. They're written that way. So that was not my concern with Jar Jar. My concern was he didn't have a whole lot of character growth. Not in the sense of being annoying or making jokes that were unnecessary and not reading the room and whatever. It was that he's a bumbling Dorcas. You know, fine. I'm fine with him being that. But by the time you have the final battle, I want to see him actually... They appointed him general of the fucking Gungan army. I want to see him actually be badass. And he fumbles and jumbles his way and mistakes and accidents his way through the fight. And it's like, okay, no, I want to see you be cool. Like, I know you can be cool. To have this brief moment of being serious about the situation, the droids come up to them and they're like, surrender now. And because one of the Gungans is telling them, like, it's okay, we won't give up, we can get through this, because they're surrounded by a bunch of droids, and one of them approaches them and says, surrender now. Tractor's like, I give up. And it's like, no, don't do that. Don't be dumb. It's supposed to be a funny comedic moment, but come on, man, grow a pair of balls. Don't be the fumbly dumbly guy for the entire fucking movie. Like, this is the final battle. Be cool for just a little bit. Because if he was cool, that would justify him in the other two movies, for what little you see of him, being the more serious person. And I don't know why fucking Padme was like, hey, Jar Jar, you take over my spot. Like, but they did. And again, you don't see him do much. He has a few lines in those movies. And he's not as bombastically hilarious or whatever, or fumbly dumbly. But I don't feel he earned it in those movies, because he was super fumbly and dumbly throughout the entirety of episode 1. That's my issue with him. I don't care that he's annoying or stupid or whatever. If you're going to appoint him to be a general and then appoint him under the council or whatever, the Senate, make him cool. In that moment, make him evolve to get to that point. They just needed something for him to do so they could keep him around for that trilogy. But then, because of the reception to episode 1, George Lucas was like, oh, okay, well, you know what, put him in less, give him less stuff to say, don't make him as fumbly and dumbly.
Okay, let's see what we got here.
But,
This ought to do it.
that's my stance on Jar Jar.
You there! Get me out of here! This is unacceptable!
I've been the fans for getting mad about him. I believe in the Darth Jar Jar theory. I've never heard of that theory. That's interesting. Are you gonna take off? Alright, man. I will see you later. Thanks for joining in. After this... What the devil? After this boss fight, I will call it here. But, yeah. I'm glad that I can actually talk about the movies now. I have opinions on the movies. I'll probably be watching them again on my own time whenever as well, just so I can get more acclimated with the films. And yes, that does include the prequels as well. So I'm not gonna lie, while the practical effects and stuff are awesome for the originals, I do like how much more detail and animation you can get, and how dynamic you can get with the CGI. But that's always been the debate, practical versus CGI. I like both, to be honest. I'm sort of, which is probably controversial or whatever, I'm sort of the mind that the practical, while cool, does look dated, but I think that's because not a lot of stuff goes practical anymore. So practical effects, with how modern we can make the practical effects, it's just cheaper to do CGI. Just do it off a program. You can have more people working on it and do it separate from the shoots, you know? Whereas all the practical stuff has to be in the shoots because they're there. Yoda's actually there. The dinosaurs in Jurassic Park are actually there. But in Jurassic World, everything for the most part, some are still practical if I remember right, and are people in suits, but a lot of them now are all pretty much CGI. I think we only think practical is dated because no one does practical anymore. Last time we really did practical, and that was the standard, was in like the 90s and stuff. Or early 2000s even, you know? I mean, again, there's even the whole cut of episode 1. I don't know, I haven't seen it around. I don't know if 2 and 3 have a puppet Yoda, but episode 1 has a puppet Yoda. But the version we saw, because we watched them on Disney Plus, he's in CGI. So, I don't know, it's interesting. But we beat Buzz. So, I don't know when I'm going to stream again. May or may not be this Saturday. Or it might be in another week or two. I don't know yet. I'm going to start doing more cleaning of my room. more organizing at some point this week, hopefully. And later this month, I'm going to get the money needed for the PC. And I'll be slowly giving updates on Twitter, so
Okay,
if
Dragon,
anything,
you've managed to survive
just
longer
follow me
than I
on Twitter,
expected. But you
at Destination
haven't
Mark,
the slightest
and
idea what
you'll
sort of
see
dangers lie
updates
ahead
and
of
stuff.
you. I suggest you
Or
grab
just
your
shitposts or
cat friend
retweets
and
of
whatever
just
else you
artwork or
found
whatever.
and hightail
I
it back
just do all
home
kinds of
while
stuff.
you still can.
But,
I'm telling you this for your own good, you know.
yeah. I'll also be in Miharu's streams, in her stream chats. So, we can talk there and whatnot. But I think that is it for now. Okay, let me just get these chests real quick. Yeah. So, if you watch this back as a video, thanks so much for watching the very end. And those of you who've been with us since we were live, thanks for sticking around. I don't have them for this. I will have them, if you're watching this back as a video, by the time that I get the description and the thumbnail up, then you will see the links in the description, or you can go into a past live stream and look at those descriptions. You can see Miharu's channel, go subscribe to her, pledge to her Patreon, follow her, or join her Discord. Victor's channel is on there, my brother, where he does streams occasionally as well. He hasn't done one in a while, but hopefully with his new mic, he'll hopefully get back to doing streams. On like Overwatch and like, you know, other stuff like that. And yeah, follow me on Twitter. That's pretty much it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Yeah. Till next time, I'm Marcelo. I'll see you guys later. And take care. Bye.